me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
What is up, folks? We are back again after day 6 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and one man on this show is very happy. It disgusts me to say, and I'm upset, and Murls is upset, and I don't know where Yan stands, but what is going on? Welcome to episode 557, presented by Pink Whitney. There are many fan bases crushing Pink Whitney, happy, joyful, enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then there are many fan bases drinking Pink Whitney out of depression. We stink again. We're not going to win the cup. But either way, Pink Whitney's involved. And we want to thank everyone who drinks. We want to thank everyone who listens. And we want to tell anyone who's never tried Pink Whitney to go give it a shot. It's spring. Summer's on the way. And we're in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I can't believe it. We're joined by a Hall of Famer. Nope, not Chris Pronger. That'll be a little bit. We're joined by Murls, the first Hall of Famer in Chiclets history, and for sure, probably the last.
Yeah, pretty cool honor. New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. People will be like, what the hell are they talking about? Murls? He can't be Hall of Fame. But I was a good youth hockey player. I was a great junior player. I did pretty well in college, all in the state of New York. Yep. And 1 year for the Albany River Rats in New York, where I probably had my best season ever. It might have helped I had Keith O'Coin as my center. But yeah, really cool honor. And Whit, you'll be happy to know, I think it's on Sunday, July 13th. Saratoga opens on Thursday, July 10th.
Bro,
so
this is your dream.
A nice little weekend here in Troy.
The problem now is if the track opens Thursday and your Hall of Fame ceremony Sunday, like they're gonna be like, this is the first Hall of Famer that can't speak. He's got no voice from the first 3 days of the track. He's got Saratoga voice. But congratulations, Murls. It's awesome. Always been a great friend and an amazing player.
What does one have to do playing minor hockey in the state of New York to get in the Hall of Fame? Like, what kind of numbers were you putting up in order to get in there?
No, yeah, I had Tim Conley tried to send the tribute video. It didn't get to G in time for our game notes, but he was talking on there. He's like, I gotta let everybody know. Yeah, me and you played together for 9 years, but you were always the best player. And he goes, you're the all-time leading scorer in Syracuse Stars history. So numbers like that. It goes a lot to my father, too. My father, he started the Uncle Sam's hockey program that had travel teams, AAA, high school club, high school league, summer clinic. So Uncle Sam's was big back in the day in New York hockey. So it's more of a family award, I would say.
I love it.
Very humble. Like he didn't mention any numbers, like 50 goals a year. Like what were you putting up?
We're talking 100 goals a year.
90. I had 96 1 year in midgets, I think.
So you were the Wayne Gretzky of the Syracuse Stars.
Maybe like 70 games or something like that. Yeah, I was a stud. We used to play this team, New Hartford. And you know, in the States, you'd have your sectionals to get to see who goes to states. And there was only one team. This is in the state before you get to nationals. And we play this team, New Hartford. They were all right. They had a couple decent players. But our coach, Don Kernan, would tell us to blackjack them. He's like, go out and blackjack them tonight, Matty. Like, win 21-0. And I remember
Ryan Kessler coached you?
Yeah, kind of like that. And I remember one game I had 9 goals and 7 assists. So, yeah.
So you're the one guy on this pod that knows how it feels to be like a McDavid-like player. Like what McDavid is doing in the NHL, you did in minor hockey, which is still amazing to do. I've never had that feeling. Have you?
Kind of in a different way, though. Like Conley was kind of that guy, and he was playing up, but he was the guy going through everybody, and I was just going to the mixer. I was going to the mixer, put my stick down, and they always said, like, the way I just shot, it always found the net. It was something lucky.
And Murls, don't not include the fact All-American at RPI. Like that's I wasn't an All-American. Brian Yandel, the other Yandel, was I believe a 2-time All-American. But congrats, Mur. It's awesome and very happy for you. And what I will say about this podcast is we've been doing this for years now, and throughout all of the playoffs, specifically the last 3 years, I've been the guy that's happy, the guy that's bragging, the guy that's just been able to just look at this idiot I do the podcast with, this guy Paul Bissonnette, this global superstar, TNT, face of everything. And I've been like, you stink, your team stinks, my team's great, you're going down, I'm going up. Everything's changed. Everything's changed.
I can't miss right now.
I'm lost.
I
You
can't
can't
miss.
miss. You can't. I drew that friggin' picture of you and your huge baked potato nose,
The Mona Lisa?
with the bloodshot eyes, and that thing. And my son might lead you to a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the Porna Lisa. That's gonna be its new name. That is just incredible. I look forward to posting that every time the Leafs pull off a W. But go ahead, Whit.
My last thing.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you take over.
No,
because you're
hey,
up
buddy, we're
3-0,
snapping
and you're happy as a clam.
Hey, we're just like the Leafs power play, buddy. We're snapping
Okay,
around
okay,
here. It's
okay.
not just one guy. It's goaltending, the back end getting it done. It's the core four. It's the bottom six, buddy.
I haven't thrown it to you yet. I feel so bad. And just for Ottawa Senators fans, and it's not because you're down 3-0, and it's not because the last two went to OT. You're the only fan base in the league. There's 32 teams. You're the only one that the Toronto Maple Leafs own. They can talk shit to you. They can ridicule you. They can make fun of you. And nobody else can take it from Toronto. But somehow you're the only team that Toronto can be like, oh, no, little brother. You go back to Ottawa where there's no nightlife and nothing to do. And every time we play in the play, it's crazy. Like the Ottawa Senators are owned by the Leafs. How do you even say that and not laugh?
It's been a great 3 games, okay? We're not going to get ahead of ourselves.
Oh,
right?
yeah, you haven't done that at all.
What do you mean? I can't celebrate wins?
No, you can.
Is that not okay? The job's not done. That's why I keep tweeting out and saying, step on their throats. We got to end this thing in 4. We got to give them no life. But everything to this point has worked out in the Toronto Maple Leafs' favor. They're playing unbelievable. They're getting it done as a group. Like, I can't even just pinpoint one thing. Obviously, we could start with goaltending. Like, it seems like they finally found their guy in Stolarz. 3-0 right now. Like, it's like a 930, maybe over that save percentage. He's made the big key saves. I would say the biggest surprise has been the contributions from the back end. Like, not only in game 1, but fucking Simon Benoit with that drop pass to Max Domi for that OT winner, and then to get the winner in game 3 off that fucking face-off, incredible. So everybody on the back end elevating their play. Obviously, we discussed Morgan Riley in that first pod to kick off playoffs. Oliver looks awesome. Tanev, wet blanket, shutting everybody down. So I said, coming into playoffs, this is the best back end they've had in a very, very, very long time. That was even just talking defensively. They have not only met up to those expectations, but they've exceeded them so far. Keep in mind, we're 3 fucking games in, though. Okay? I still think the Leafs have not played their best hockey. I don't think they've been at the top of their game the last 2 games. Can we all agree on that? I thought
Ottawa's controlled a lot of the game the last 2 games. I mean,
I would say 4 of the 6 periods, Jans, that Ottawa controlled. Maybe a lot of perimeter action in the offensive zone. I still believe that Toronto's done a good job on the inside, boxing out, allowing Stolarz to see most of it. But yeah, it's Ottawa's not dead yet. There is a little bit of life
dead.
there.
They're dead.
There's a little life there. There's a little heartbeat, Jans, but they've played pretty solid the last 2 games.
I think it all started when I think someone in the Toronto organization has been stealing Giroux's cars. And this is how they just started just sunning them from the beginning of the year.
They went early.
It's been since training camp. They've just been sunning them. It might be Benoit. I don't know the guy's habits. I don't know what he does off ice. If he's jacking cars on the side, but he's playing out of his mind. But you know what I love about this is the Morgan Riley. You look at the last 2 years, people are like, we got to get Morgan Riley out of here. He's done. We don't want him anymore. Guys, the grass isn't greener. Sometimes a guy that you have that is used to playing there, that knows how to play there, he'll figure it out in the playoffs. He'll figure it out when you need him, and he's done it. He's been unbelievable. Their back end, it hasn't looked this good since J-Lo had a concert at fucking the Air Canada Center in 1997. But I love the way that they're playing.
She's still fucking bad, though.
I know.
It's crazy.
I would
crazy.
fucking
Even
suck
my
a
wife's like, I don't get it. Like, she's like 60 almost.
I'd suck a fart out of her asshole. That's how hot she is. Sorry.
Kid show.
Well,
Playoffs.
she's single now, isn't she?
I don't know.
Yeah, DM her.
Yeah, done. already done it.
Murls, let me ask you, because you've kind of, I feel like you root for the Leafs. I feel like you like them and you want to see them do well. You got the Chiclets Leaf colors, colored lid on right now.
Conley
Great new
used to
lid.
play there.
And Jans, I love that gray one. What are you seeing? What excites you as kind of a quasi Leafs fan most about this team's possible path to the Cup for the first time since 1967?
Yeah, you're 100% right. I don't root against them. I'm not a diehard. I don't have Maple Leafs panties on or anything like that. But going back to Jans talking about Riley, I think the biggest thing for him is he's not the PP1D man. And that wasn't like hurting him. He had to worry about that. It was taking pressure and minutes from him. Now they've gone with the 5 forwards. He gets to sit back, concentrate on his own game. Doesn't have to worry about the big studs yelling at him, give it to me. No, give it to me. Give it to me. He's just focused on his game, playing his minutes, and I think that's one of the biggest differences in the Maple Leafs whole game is that now he's focused on that, and the power play is ridiculous.
Murls, please don't mention the 5 forward power play unit. Whit's got PTSD from LA doing it to the Edmonton Oilers, which we'll get to in a little
later,
bit.
dude. Yeah.
The secondary scoring for them right now is so key. Like they haven't had that in the last 4 years, just contribution. You get Max Domi scoring in overtime the other night, Benoit, like the secondary scoring that they haven't had since probably 1967, right, Biz?
I'll tell you this.
You know what though, Whit? This series actually reminds me a lot of the one against Tampa. Was it 2 years ago?
When they
or
won.
was it when they won, where I feel like Tampa, from like a puck possession and play standpoint, like they were pretty solid. The series could have went either way. It ended up ending in, I believe, 5 games.
No, 6. I thought that Tavares scored.
Was it 6 games?
I thought, in OT.
But Toronto was just seemed to get a lot through. They were getting timely scoring, and once again, Morgan Riley had a big series then as well. You guys want to talk about flipping it over to Ottawa? Like, they do look like the playoff virgins, though. Like some of the mistakes that they're making, like if you go back to game 2, like Batherson, like kind of the soft play to the middle in the offensive zone, which leads to Benoit picking it off and going the other way, and then over back checking, not getting a piece of Domi with a hit on the way back, considering it was your turnover. So it just looked a little sloppy there. Where, hey, listen, like this team does have a bright future. They do have a lot of game breakers and bright young stars, but this looks like the Leafs did, 4 or 5 years ago. Just very raw. They need a lot of work to be done and some holes to be filled. And including, as good as Allmark was towards the end of the year, boys, he kind of is getting the Hellebuck title where he's turning into a pumpkin come playoffs. The numbers are the numbers, right? The numbers are the numbers.
But if you look at the did Nyes get credit for the one that went in off the skate last night?
Yeah, he did.
So that's like nothing he can really do there. The overtime winner's just like a rocket with a great screen by Matthews. And talking about Matthews quickly, that guy, 200-foot player, is like game 3 was a clinic. That had to be one of the best playoff games he's ever played. He was everywhere. He wins the face-off on the winning goal. He scores a beauty off one of the grossest passes that I've ever seen. Like for Marner, so Marner's getting that puck behind the net. The puck's on the way. He's already looking. He knows. I tweeted. He knows exactly what he's going to do with the puck before he gets it. Like that. That's probably his number one superpower. Is that he never needs time to think, oh, I got to do this when he gets it. He's like, nope, I know. When I get this thing, I'm moving it. I'm skating with it. And he just gives this beautiful pass where he actually has to lift up his own leg to get it to Matthews, but he's in the right spot.
No, that was him pissing on Allmark while he was doing it. He was doing a little dog piss with the leg raise.
But Piss, let me say quick. Let me. It
kind of reminded me a little bit of the Four Nations goal where he'd already had his mind made up before he got the puck, right?
Yeah.
And he's so good along the wall in those areas. But to go back quickly to what you said, and Pablo, he needed a performance like that. That was a huge goal for him. And they're just collecting a little bit of confidence, little by little, because they're gonna have a heck of a ride here, boys. But what were you gonna say, Whit?
What I was going to say was, as the guy who has to hold down the fort for everyone listening, who despises the team on the hat you're wearing, this team who hasn't accomplished anything in 50 years, This is what you get from winning your division. So credit to them. You get the 8th seed, the 7th seed, right? You don't have to deal with a top team from your division. And next round, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be the Panthers. We'll get into that later, but this is what you get from having the great regular season. You mentioned Ottawa has a bright future. I really believe that, but this was no match, and I hope there would be a match. I think I picked 7 games, but Toronto is a better team. They're deeper, and you are able to get through the first round, and it's not over, but you're able to get through the first round with ease. The Bobby Holik message, take advantage of the weaker teams, take advantage of not having to go to 6 or 7, and Toronto finally did it this year. They didn't have to have a first round battle zone.
Don't try to fucking jinx us. Hey, listen, they gotta play a full 60 minutes and close this thing out and do exactly what you're saying and not waste any energy, right?
But,
I feel like
you
the
agree
last
with
couple,
me, right? They finally didn't have to get Boston or Florida or Tampa in the first round, right? Like,
but I was fucking screaming from the mountaintops when they lost to San Jose twice in the last 20 games of the season. When they didn't win those games, I understood how important it was to win the Atlantic. Because, listen, the way that Tampa was playing towards the end of the season, I didn't want to play them, and obviously I didn't want to play Florida in the first round. That would have been way too much of a mental hurdle. I don't want to. Obviously, the Leafs have been a little bit fragile in the past. When you finally end up making your run, a few things have to happen along the way, including gaining a shit ton of confidence and having everybody healthy and ready to go come round 2. The only, I guess, nitpick, I think he's been solid. He's obviously had some points. Nylander.
Why are you dogging him? I was going to ask you. I saw your Twitter.
Well, okay, so he misses the breakaway, and then he's smiling about it. Okay, whatever. Okay, not crazy about that. Okay, laugh
You're
it off.
Nitpicking a little there, but
that's
go ahead.
nitpicking. Okay, what's not nitpicking is the next period where they have, I believe it was a 4-on-4 situation where Nyes ended up getting the penalty at the end of the period. So Ottawa's going to go on the power play after, let's say, 30 seconds to open up the second period. Well, Nylander's starting the period, so he has to know that, right? You got to know. Once I have this puck and we're around here for 20, 30 seconds, they're going to have a guy coming out of the box. Well, what's he do? He turns it over in the offensive zone instead of just going to the corner and maybe eating a little bit more clock, getting healthy guys or fresh guys on the ice, and then changing when he loses that puck battle. No, he turns it over and then he trips an Ottawa Senator. They go on the fucking power play 5-on-3, and then they score that fucking goal. That's not fucking using your brain. Turn your fucking brain on. Clock management. Listen, we could praise his points and his scoring ability and his dynamic offensive play, but bro, if I'm fucking paying you $11 million, I'm expecting all of it. You're not fucking the dog with the puck in the ozone with that game management situation going on. Am I crazy here? You guys are fucking smirking at me.
He stuck out his knee instead of
he tripped the guy.
At that point, just change,
bro. They've shot themselves in the foot a few times this series so far. There's a reason that Nick Robertson wasn't in the lineup. It's because he took a fucking penalty 200 feet from his net when they had the game in full control in game 2. That's how they ended up fucking tying it in game 2. Well, insert Pacioretty, bye-bye Robertson. I'm going to hold fucking Nylander to the same standard. Bro, you missed your breakaway, smiled about it, fine. Don't care. But don't fucking do what you did at the beginning of the second to cost us a goal because you had horrible puck management. I ain't fucking playing games, man. I'm trying to win a Stanley Cup here.
I fucking love it, Biz.
This is a demanding fan.
This is unbelievable.
And that's what the coach is definitely saying. You're getting away with it against the Ottawa Senators, but you're not going to get away with it against the Florida Panthers in the next round.
That's what I'm saying. Murl, thank you so much. You're trying to create these habits, and that's why I'm the last 2 games, I'm well, you kind of took 3 to maybe 4 periods off where Ottawa controlled the play. Do you understand that these lapses in time as you move forward in playoffs, cannot exist? And you saw, you see Florida play, it doesn't happen. And if it does for a couple shifts, they're able to turn it back. Leafs, they fall into these, they fall asleep a little bit sometimes, and it pisses me off. So they can't afford to be doing that and creating these bad habits. But Murls, like you said, if I was the coach, I would literally pull the video up in the room with the laser pointer and I would say, fuck you. Fuck you.
He's doing that.
That's how you're approaching it? Just
I would say,
fuck
you. You know better than this. There's a reason that you got 11 sheets hitting your fucking wire are getting wired over every year.
He's keeping coaches accountable on the bench. You know he's keeping the guys accountable in the fucking locker room. This is why you need a guy like Chief at this time of year. This is why you bring him in, Biz. I fucking love it.
So for the people who might not understand what you're talking about, can you want to bring up the situation with Savard?
Yeah, so it's Savard. It was they get a big goal. Savard, it's his first year there, right? He was he's helped out big time with the power play. So this was in game 2 where I think they scored a power play goal pretty early.
No, it was game 1. It was game 1.
Okay, so it was game 1. All right.
And Mark Savard, one of the all-time best power play guys that I remember, like he was unbelievable, could dish the puck. So he's really helped them out. But they scored game 1. He gets a little too excited, jumps on the bench where the players are sitting, and you look over and Chief, the killer that he is like, hey, we don't do that shit. Sit the fuck down.
Oh, the look. It was just a look. And Savard immediately was like, and then they showed a clip game 2 of the first goal for Toronto.
That's
what
Savard
just stands back. He's like,
well, he kind of jolted a little bit, and then he like fixed his blazer and looked over, and he was like, "Oh,
it was
fuck,
like a dad."
Yeah.
And then Chief was asked about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we ask our players to have composure and stay calm throughout. So like, it's no different for us." Murls, I talked to Ryan Caldwell. Good buddy of ours. He works for the Winnipeg Jets. He lives outside Ottawa. He was at the game, game 3 on Thursday night. He was saying, man, I kind of wish the refs would kind of put the arms down a little bit. It seems, at least to him and me watching, guys are like maybe missing a hit or getting knocked over, and boom, it's like arm up for a trip. I don't know if you saw the same thing, but him being in the building made me appreciate what he was saying even more.
Yeah, I feel like the whole playoffs has kind of been like that. It's gotten a little soft. The playoffs always used to be, all right, we're going to only call the major stuff, the scoring chances, and kind of hold the guys to a higher standard, I would say. But you're probably talking about the Stützle one, because he kind of like makes a move, and he does get caught a little bit, but what do you think was going to happen? There was only one outcome when you did that move. That you're going to go down, and I saw the stat that he drew the most penalties ever in a season, tied with Nazem Kadri this season. So I know he was a friend of the program, and you guys asked him about the diving and soccer and everything, but I think there's a little embellishment going on up there.
And boys, I think if we're going to shift it back over to Ottawa for a little tire pump, Brady Tkachuk, it feels like he's not playing 100%. Just a twisted wrister inside the blue line. Huge goal to put them into overtime, but just couldn't get the big save. And obviously, Matthew Nyes, we haven't really talked about him much this pod. He's been just a fucking beast, man. Beyond his years. I think he's going to get a big ticket. I'm praying he doesn't get offer sheeted. I think that they're going to give him what they need to give him at this point, especially if this keeps going throughout playoffs. We're looking at probably 8.5 for an 8-year deal. And you might think I'm crazy for saying that. It's going to be more, but you can suck my cock.
Biz, last thing on the Leafs for me, and you mentioned the defense, but they kind of figured out exactly what they wanted to do with just big bodies, man. Like they're all back there, and none of them besides, I'd say Riley, maybe Ekman Larson at times is like a lead at breaking the puck out, but they're almost like, all right, we're not worried as much about that because we're gonna clear in front of our own net. We're going to try to have really good gaps and basically just suffocate you down low. And you've seen like Benoit, like Biexio was on TV saying it's like he's the perfect number 6, dude.
Yes.
And he's playing way better than a number 6. Just a monster that moves pretty well. He's mean. He's big. And they have a bunch of those guys. That Carlo trade, probably not mentioned enough, but just another one of those guys, right? McCabe is kind of similar to Carlo, maybe a little more physical, but you know exactly what you're getting, and there's going to be a lot of chip off the window and out, but it's like, who cares? Because we're going to be battling down low so hard, these guys are not going to get inside us on the offensive side in front of Stollards. Yeah, no, just kind of like the Scotty Lawton trade, the Carlo one, like opening day of playoffs, you're like, fucking thank God we made this move, man. This is huge. He's looked great too. Scotty Lawton's played 3 solid games, and Whit, I'll hand it over to you because I think we're moving on from this series. It's not over yet.
Did we give Stolarz any love?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
okay.
The whole reason we're up 3-0.
Cool, calm, collected. And yeah, it's time for me. It's time for me to basically do something I haven't had to do over the past few years, as the Oilers have kind of had success at Western Conference Final, then they lose second round, then they go Cup Final, almost legendary comeback. And with this season, yes, it's been a different feeling, but before we get to them, we're going to bring in a man who was there quickly, but one of the greatest Oilers defensemen in all time, a Hall of Famer, and a guy that's been all over Twitter lately, giving his takes, watching a ton of hockey. That is Chris motherfucking Pronger. There he is. Prongs, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining the show. I'm about to get embarrassed, but what are you seeing? Like, you're LA, I got to give them credit. They're fast. They're all over the place. They went to the 5-forward power play unit. But the Oilers, man, holy shit, this is ugly.
They're schooling them right now. When they get in their own zone, it's bend, don't break, but they find stops quickly. Their defensive core, I've been pretty impressed with how quickly they're able to corral McDavid and Draisaitl. Yeah, they've got some in-zone time and they're kind of doing what they do, but it's always on the perimeter. It's on the outside. They'll give it back to the point a little bit, but the defensive core with Edmonton is having a tough playoff round so far. And then when they get on the attack, man, they drive the net hard. They funnel everything to the net. They're going with a purpose. And I think it's making Skinner and maybe Pickard, who knows who's going to start in the third game, but a little uncomfortable he looks like. He doesn't look like he's set and out on the top and comfortable. They're driving the back post. They're driving to the front of the net really hard.
Well, I'm glad you brought it there. Like, you make it more about goaltending or the way that they're defending right now? Because I just look at the way, even like the way that they're play in the offensive zone, where sometimes I feel like they're congesting things a little too much, where maybe they're trying to be an option, but where I feel they just need to simplify and worry about playing defense and not getting beat. And I mean, you saw the other night, like they were down 1-0 and they got forwards blowing the zone, and Darnell Nurse is maybe getting caught a little too far, not protecting the middle. Like, I feel like these are like uncharacteristic breakdowns for a team that went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year and who's beat LA the last 3 years.
I break it down like this. What's the first rule of Fight Club? What's the first rule of defense? Defend. and they have not defended very well. And they make high-risk plays all the time. Go back to Game 1. It's 5-5. They are humming. And Bouchard just kind of lazily, puck gets by him. He just kind of, meh. And all of a sudden, yes, was it an egregious, terrible goal? Yes. But it didn't have to get that far. They didn't even have to get the zone. And it just, at times, they just make these bonehead defensive play. Last game, Nurse goes up the wall for no reason. Byfield comes in behind him, and then Bouchard is covering the front of the net. There's a guy over on the back, not even the back door, but he was a left-hand shot. He wasn't even a one-time option.
Yeah.
It was not even a one-time option. You can't let a guy come in on his off way on a breakaway. You're covering Casper the Ghost over there. He's going to have to stop it, dust it off, and then shoot it. That shouldn't give your goalie enough time.
You're saying as a defenseman, though, you would have already looked over and known that he was...
100%. You know who it is. You got to, first off, you got to know who you're on the ice with. You already know. You've been in the zone long enough. You should know who that is. You know what hand they shoot. You know if it's a good player or not. You should already know all these things. You should be able to process stuff like that.
To be fair, I didn't even know what hand my line mate shot, so I was just asking a Hall of Famer.
Well, that's
you can attest to that.
That's kind of what I was bringing up. This was like on Twitter. It was like people were like, you can't blame Bouchard there. No, and it's not at all Bouchard. Leon was the only guy who made the right play. He went in and hammered Gavrikov, and then Nurse is standing there, and it looks like he was almost looking to see if Gavrikov was going to punch Leon and like standing there to almost back him up for a possible fight or something. I don't know. All of a sudden, Byfield swoops in. My thing with Bouchard was, and Prongs, you just said it. Yeah, it's a 2-on-1, so you're kind of taking away the pass, but at some point, like, it's like, all right, I got to go to the guy. Like, once he walks in that close, like, at least a stick check or something. And he's just...
And by the way, that's not Patrick Waugh net. You know, Patrick Waugh used to always say, take the back door. I have the shooter. That's Stuart Skinner. It's not Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
So if you're a Bouchard, maybe you come across and you slide.
Yep.
And take that pass away and not allow him to walk right in.
Wow, they've had a lot of issues sliding too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about the other slide.
I would have slid there probably.
I remember playing some defense, and you guys will know better. Instead of just long bodying straight down, aren't you supposed to kind of like long body and take his space away? And it didn't look like Nurse did that at all.
You would have needed to have come across. Well, if Bouchard would have been the one sliding, he would have been coming across and in and up to take away time and space and to take away the pass.
Yeah, I was talking on the Nurse, the earlier goal too, where he kind of laid down and went under his skate.
Well, Merle, in fairness,
goal?
they've given up 12 goals.
Yeah, so yeah, it's getting confusing.
They've given up 12 goals.
We can pick the D apart all we want, but the guy's got to mix in a couple saves.
And yes, and Skinner, Oilers fans, what I'm sensing, it's like they're just beyond done with Skinner. Like, and we've been saying we need goaltending help, and all year you did nothing. And Skinner has not been good. The numbers, I think his career playoff numbers are near like the bottom of the history of the league. Like, but it's not just him. Like, I will say right now, it's not even the biggest problem. Yes, he's not an elite goalie, but they are playing so bad. They are giving LA everything they have. Like, they're turning it over. They're letting Kempe and Byfield, I mean, the goals they have, they're walking in, nobody near them for 3 seconds. And then obviously, like, these guys are picking corners. Yes, you would expect once in a while a big save to be made, but I think Oilers fans should almost realize, like, this is not all on Skinner. He's getting left out to dry. They put in Pickard, and what happens? You see another Kempe walk down with nobody near him, and he picks a corner. Like, so it's like, it's just horrible hockey so far. Horrible.
Prongs, have you ever played in an away building where they had an anthem that essentially hypnotized the away team like you've seen in this series? Because we could talk about the bad defense from the Oilers. We could talk about how electric the power play has been for LA, how good their neutral zone's been. Obviously Darcy Kemper, but it all comes down to the harmonica version of the Star Spangled Banner at this point.
So if I'm going off of that, should the Oilers break out the accordion? And
ooh,
that's not bad, actually.
What do we think? Wouldn't that be nice?
That's not bad. And get a community center of old people. I don't know how many Koreans are in Edmonton, but get an old community center, pumping the harmonica. Biz, right away when the harmonica started, I go, this ain't good. I mean, I knew. I was like, this is scaring the shit out of me.
So there's also a little history involved here too. So I was shocked to see that they would have launched this first game of playoffs, but apparently they did so in the regular season where they played in a game against Boston where they kicked things off, and LA that game put up 7 or 8 goals. So they put up 7. So over the course of 3 games with the harmonica ladies, they've scored 19 goals. This is like, they're putting a trance on the opposition. This is what's happening.
Gave them Toradol before game 2. They pumped them all with Toradol.
They're the new Kate Smith from Philadelphia.
Do you think there's a...
Prongs, I got one for you. It's like, I don't see any confidence in the Oilers. I know LA's been really good at home, but it's not like one of those, it doesn't look like one of those series like, all right, hey, we lost those 2 games, we'll be fine at home. Like, to me, they look like they're, a little bit wounded. Or do you think that they can go home and rattle a couple off and feel good about themselves, play on home ice, get away from the harmonica, and play their game at home?
It's been a long year. They've had a lot of injuries. They, from losing Game 7 of Stanley Cup, trying to come back, trying to do all the offseason changes, all the offer sheet stuff, the new players, the, Four Nations, all the stuff that's kind of gone on. And then when you look at kind of where they're at, I don't look at that series being down 2-0 the same way I see St. Louis and Winnipeg. Both those games in Winnipeg were close. They could have gone either way. This one, they've been dominated outside of that little stretch in the third where they came out at that massive comeback in the first game. They've been dominated.
And Prongs, I'll say before we go on, because I'm very interested to hear about St. Louis. I think you were at the game last night. The announcer said, but
yeah, I was.
Going to LA, they've been incredible. Everything's working for them. But I'm interested in your opinion on Doughty, where he's a Hall of Fame player. He's ran that power play for 15 years, and they went to him and they said, listen, we're going with 5 forwards. Like, that never happened to you, but would that be something really difficult to take, or is that more, hey, on the back nine of my career, I'm willing to do anything that needs to be done to get our power play a little better, and I don't have to be on it.
Yeah, and I think it also gives him less minutes. He's not up in
True.
the 28, 30 minutes. He's coming off the ankle injury, just trying to get himself back into form. Obviously has had a good stretch now. But Noel Brown, their power play guy, is, you look at what he's done with the teams where he's been. He was with us in Anaheim, in Vancouver when he was there. They had a really good power play.
Phoenix.
On and on and on. So Phoenix. So he's really sharp. And, Doughty's on the second power play unit. If those five don't get it done, he's coming right up, to run that second PP. So it's not like he's not even getting minutes with how quickly they're scoring. They don't really get a chance to get to him. But it's, I think for him, as you said, been there, done that, won 2 cups. I think he just wants to get the chance to win and can see what they've been doing. They've been zipping that thing around, and Kuzmenko's been a great addition to that.
Another thing that's been an issue with Edmonton, Prongs, is discipline, right? Like, we've seen some plays where it's just unnecessary penalties, and while some of them could be considered weaker calls, there's just no need to be doing some of the stuff that they've been doing, trying to battle back into every game, too.
Well, and especially when their PK has been as suspect as it has thus far.
Horrible.
You keep giving LA's power play, which is ripping it around at a pretty solid clip. The fewer chances you give them, the better. And so, the Henrique penalty, the other game, just egregious. You're clawing yourself back in, and then you're kicking yourself in the foot right off the gate. It's I think they need to get their veteran guys to lead by example, get the younger guys, the less experienced guys, to understand what it's going to take to be successful and win.
The Henrique play, he had just thrown a great hit on Byfield, and you're down 2 goals. Like, that's all you needed to do. And then you grab him by the head. It's just, and what's upsetting to me, Biz, before you go ahead, is game 1. I think it was one of the greatest games McDavid's ever played. Like, when he got on the ice, it was like, oh my God, he's going to get it, and they're going to get a chance. A goal and 3 assists, and I said, oh, they might win this in regulation, and 4 seconds later, Elliot. So, go ahead, Biz.
You're pretty notorious for being vocal in the locker room and saying what needs to be said, not sugarcoating it. Like, what would you have said in that locker room after game 2? Would you have gone in there, or maybe you would have addressed it sooner?
No, I think not much needs to be said, to be honest with you. They were terrible, and much like St. Louis last night, all they have to do is hold serve at home. So they need to play well at home. They need to get their 2 games. Then they got to look to just win 1 road game. If they can take care of home ice, it doesn't matter when you get the road win, whether it's game 1, game 2, game 5, or game 7. It doesn't matter. They're going to have to win 1 on the road to come out of this series, and then obviously move on in the other one. So I wouldn't be too worried about it in that sense. I would just be worried about how they're playing. Just that they're very porous. They're not, the front of the net is not theirs. I can tell you that. LA owns the front of their net. They're manhandling them. They're doing whatever they want. They're getting second, third, fourth opportunities. They're getting backdoor tap-ins. They're, getting partial breakaways from the dot in. Like, if I'm the all copy or Knobloch or whoever, I'm just looking at that. How can we tighten this up to allow Calvin Pickard, or if they go back to Stuart Skinner, just a little bit of help back there?
I also feel like LA's owning the neutral zone. It seems like their plan is like they won't even send that F3, that high forward in the offensive zone, even if they got back pressure. They tend to just back up, and they don't want any east-west play. They're trying to direct them to the same wall and eventually get a dump in where they're going to handle business from there. So how would you look to combat that if you're Edmonton from like a neutral zone perspective, or can you even do that?
Well, and the issue with that is, so then they're having that high forward offensively. So now you're either drawing out your center or you're drawing out your defenseman away from the front of the net, out high, just to have a little bit of coverage in case they do chip it into the middle while they have the puck. So it's posing a number of issues, and it's getting them out of sync. They're going to need to either switch and have the centerman come out there or something to figure out how they're going to do that. And then in the neutral zone, when they have their top guys, like McDavid and Draisaitl was they want to skate it in. They don't want to dump it. So it's forcing the puck out of their hands, and now they have to go get it. They're going to be the first one on the forecheck. They're the fastest players in that line. Like they moved Perry on that line towards the end of game 2. Hyman, I don't know. He's been a little.
I haven't even
off.
heard
I
his
haven't even
name.
barely noticed them.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah,
Nugent
one
Hopkins?
chance.
What about Nuge?
Yeah.
Same thing. And LA is playing, I mean, basically 9 forwards, right? Like they're dressed in 11 and 7. And then the bottom two, the fourth line there, it's like, I think that these guys are getting 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. And they kind of know, like, it's all right because Edmonton's similar with how they just have to roll out McDavid and Leon. But I'm very interested to see what happens at home. I would be shocked if Picker doesn't play. Can the crowd get them into it? Can they actually just start playing not mistake-free hockey? That's never going to happen. Just stop gifting them everything. At least make LA earn some of this. And that's the question. But going to another series, and we'll hop on back into some of these other things we didn't address, but the Enterprise Center last night in St. Louis looked like a madhouse, Prongs. You were in the building. I think through 5 minutes, shots were 9-0, and it was 2-0 Blues, and it was like, holy shit. And they easily could have won game 1. So what do you see there? I think I'm so impressed personally on Cam Fowler, but 5 points last night. Take it away there, Prongs.
Yeah, no, they came out firing on all cylinders. The crowd, I had people text me last night that was the craziest day they've ever been at Enterprise. Going through their cup run in 19, going through their, like, that's the most fun and the loudest I've been at a Blues playoff game.
Wow.
Which is to say something.
No shit.
They came out hard. I think they wanted to send a message. They played physical. They were relentless in the forecheck, which is what I was looking for them in Winnipeg. They were pretty good in Winnipeg, but they were relentless in game 3, I think, realizing that their backs were against the wall.
Yeah, I got some text this morning, too. We'll put our fan base up against anybody in St. Louis. And then you saw Monty's press conference after. He's like, they gave us all the energy. He goes, I haven't seen our guys skate that fast. It definitely gave us an extra gear. So shout out to the good people of St. Louis.
Yeah, they were feeding off them pretty good.
There is a worry. We'll go to Winnipeg, kind of go all over this series. Playoff Hellebuck is now maybe a little bit bigger of a storyline after game 3. His numbers through 3 games, way beneath 900 save percentage, over 3 goals against. I don't know if he's in his own head or it's just the way St. Louis played and giving up 7, right? That's going to change those numbers big time. But I think Winnipeg right now, after being up 2-0, no worry. Now it's like, where's Velarde and where's Ehlers and when are these guys coming back? I don't know if there's any noise about those 2 guys from any of you.
I got some more Hellebuck numbers for you. Allowed 4+ goals. Allowed 4+ goals in 9 of his last 12 playoff games, and he's allowed 5+ goals in 6 of 12. So it's not just that 7 bomb last night throwing the numbers off. It's a long story here.
Jesus, Mur, coming in with the fucking game notes, eh? Jesus. This guy ain't fucking around. This guy read the stat pack.
I've been up since 6 a.m. digging a foundation, Biz. I'm buzzing here. I'm ready.
Shout out game notes every Wednesday at noon on the Spittin Chiclets YouTube channel that just hit 400,000 subscribers.
Prongs, what about Cam Fowler as I brought him up? He played, I think he played 60 playoff games roughly with Anaheim. He had over 30 points, but then he goes years, no playoffs. Gets brought over on the trade. Anaheim eats some of the money. He's only getting paid $4 million by St. Louis. 36 points in 51 games with the Blues. How excited do you think a guy like that is to just get back in the mix? Because they weren't a playoff team when he got to St. Louis, but he helped carry them in, and he's just got this rejuvenation to his game.
Yeah, no, he's been a really good steadying influence for these guys. You look at their back end; they got a lot of experience back there. You got Suter, you got him, you got Falk, you got Parayko, and then you mix in a couple of the younger guys. It's really good, young and old fit there. But he's been excellent. Such a good skater.
Yeah,
steadying influence, makes a great first pass, defends really well. He's not gonna out muscle guys, but he's got a little bite to his game, and he helps him on a power play. Like he simplifies things back there. He works the top of the blue line really well. They found a really good fit with him. And as you said, getting a third of his contract eaten by Anaheim, and they got him and a fourth for a second round pick. It's a pretty good pickup.
Yeah, that's big
Unbelievable.
time right there.
It feels like that's where like the group had even more confidence when Armstrong pushed the chips in a little bit more. That was right before Winter Classic. He ends up playing his 1,000th game at Winter Classic. It just felt like at that moment, seeing them hand out Kelly Chase's shoulder pads as the team MVP of the game, it just felt like they had something brewing. But I'll direct my question towards you, Prong. We had a debate on Twitter about a true number one defenseman.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to hear your take. I was kind of trolling a little bit. You obviously hopped in and I felt that Parayko was put in a pretty tough spot when they moved on from Pietrangelo, and maybe he thought he had to be something that he wasn't. I feel like he's kind of settled back in to where I feel like he's probably a true number two on any team. How do you feel that he's kind of played? Okay, maybe a 3. You're a little bit more harder than I am, but
Murls says the same. Murls said say a 4.
Can say it.
He's been horrible in this series. I had the stats on Game Notes Wednesday.
He is coming back from a knee surgery and trying to find himself, but he hasn't been the Parayko of Four Nations and whatnot. He's trying to work himself back in. So I agree with you, Murls.
And also, he was not on the team for the 13-game win streak. He was up in the stands. So he hasn't been the Four Nations guy at all.
But I was going to ask, how do you feel that he's been really the whole year and since moving on from a few difficult ones? And how do you feel like the rest of the D-core has played?
But he's been prior to him getting injured, he was fantastic. He's got to shoot first. He's got an absolute cannon of a shot. So now he's shooting. In the past, he'd always look to pass it off, didn't want to shoot. Now every chance he gets, he's blasting it. He's jumping in the attack. I think he had 15 goals, I think, maybe this year, and had a ton of chances, had a couple great chances last night. Defense hard. The issue with him, and I feel for the guy, is everybody wants to compare him to me. Why doesn't he hit more? Why isn't he more aggressive? Why is he this? Why is he that?
Same size.
And instead of just looking at what he's got, it's like Owen Power in Buffalo. Stop looking at what he can't do and look at what he can do. He defends really well. He is a big body. He can out-muscle guys in front of the net. He defends the front of the net. He makes a good first pass. He's a really good skater. He's got a cannon of a shot. All these things, all the positives. We always look at the negatives, and just because, and we'll go back to your trolling, just because I call him a 3, maybe he's a 2, but I call him a 3 because you got a 1, you got a 2, and then you got a 3. He's a great 3. It's like Adam Foote goes from being a really good 2 in Colorado to Columbus signing him to be a number 1. He's not a number 1. He's not a power play guy. He can't do that. It's not his skill set. And we start positioning these guys. It's like Jacob Slavin. He is the prototypical 2 in the league. He's not a power play guy. And they argue, well, they don't put him in that. Well, they don't put him there because he can't be the power play guy. He's an unreal defender, probably the best in the league. Makes a great first pass. Really smooth skater. That's just not in his wheelhouse. And it's not a knock on the player. There's very few guys that can run a power play, be the first one out on the PK, be out every shift matched up against the top line in every team. There's not that many guys in the league that do that.
The conversation started with Dahlin. Do you think that he's a true number 1?
Yes.
And how many do you think there are actually in the league? Would you say under 15?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As how I look at it. Like Erik Karlsson's on number 1, how I look at it. He doesn't kill penalties. If you're number 1, you're up by a goal late in the game. Are you putting that guy on the ice? Absolutely not. You're down by a goal, you are. Like you're number 1 in all situations. Petro's a number 1, or was. Yes. I wouldn't maybe call him 1 now, but back in the day, he was a number 1.
Well, what would you say to people, though, and I get, like, you got to work with what you have and look at what they do well. But Parayko being that big, when they say, oh, he's not Pronger, he's not that mean, like, don't you think there's an aspect of the coaching staff that needs to be or say, or is it impossible to just make this guy be meaner? Like when he fought JT Miller, it's like, holy shit, like Why doesn't this guy do this more? Or is it just that's not in you?
Well, did you see how the fight started? He was clueless in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you actually want to fight? Okay." And he is the nicest human alive. And you are not going to teach that kid how to be mean. It's just not in him. And, and I'll go in power. Nicest kid in the world. You're not going to teach that kid to be mean. You can teach somebody to compete. You can teach him to play harder.
What about like shock therapy or something? Like there's nothing, like nothing.
I would have done it, Biz. I would have done it.
They had to teach Prong how to be nice. Like, and you got to teach other guys how to be mean. Some guys are wired a little different.
Prong's is starting a two-hander camp. You just go to this camp for a week and you just two-hand guys in the back of the leg and cross-check.
Prong, there was never a moment where like you flip the switch. Like, did you always have that nastiness to your game?
Yeah, I always played that way. I was, let's just say, Adam Squirt minor hockey days. If somebody hit one of my teammates, I'd say, okay, we'll get this guy at some point. And ultimately, I found a time, or I created a time.
You know who I want to shout out is Jordan Kyrou, and it's going back to in Winnipeg. That hit that he took from Logan Stanley, like, I think Kyrou's a skilled guy, obviously one of the fastest players in the league. Didn't necessarily see him popping up from that and not missing a shift. I mean, that's one of the biggest hits we'll see in the playoffs, even going through the rest of the spring. He got right back up. He played great after. Very impressive to see, taking that bump and then just not missing any time.
Yeah, I think in years past he may have shied away, and I think that kind of speaks to the evolution of his game, his career. How he's performed this year. He's been really good for the Blues all season long. I think he's their top goal scorer at 35 goals, I think, this year. Ish. He's been a little grittier. Like, he's been more competitive and put himself, in and around the net more. Scored a really nice goal last night. Quick release. But he's been excellent. And just to see, again, I mean, he got caught on the train tracks.
Oh.
He got smoked by the big rig there. Excited to see his game evolve.
I was going to ask you about another young guy on that team. Robert Thomas ended up missing Four Nations, but led the league in points from Four Nations till the start of playoffs. Like, obviously, you're the Blues insider walking around town. Like, he just seems like the best guy. He seems like a few of their guys, like neighbors, they're throwbacks.
Yeah,
you hear a lot about these young guys, but these guys seem like throwbacks.
Yeah, they love to play the game, and you see, Neighbors is on the left with Thomas and Snuggerud. He's been a great addition. You just look at the way Robert Thomas plays. When he's down low, I watch him here. I'm like, how can they not get the puck from this guy? Like, he just tight turns in around, down low, grinding on teams, zone possession time. He's, as you said, the most points since Four Nations. I think not that he wasn't upset that he didn't make the team. He got injured and, just was not healthy enough to play. But I think seeing how much fun they had at the Four Nations and the experience, I think he was a little angry that he missed that opportunity, and came back from the break with a renewed vigor and kind of caught fire.
How could they not get the puck off him? I mean, he makes Murls' ass and legs look like Whit's. Have you not seen this guy's lower body? He looks like fucking Cardi B. He looks like Cardi B out there. He got fucking Quadzilla.
He did live with Kachuk, so they do have similar frames.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Biz, another impressive number I saw after St. Louis's Game 3 win. So in Game 2, Scheifele was hit one time. They got him 7 times in Game 3. And the biggest one, it was Morrissey, too, they kind of wanted to focus on. You saw Neighbors and Shen at the same time hammer Morrissey in the corner. So I think St. Louis comes back like, all right, Morrissey, Connor, Scheifele, we have to be more physical on these guys, and they were. And Winnipeg Jets fans could be pissed off. They're up 2-1. We're kind of more pumping up the Blues, but we're just coming off that dominating win in Game 3. What do you think, Biz or Prongs, anyone take it, like Winnipeg has to go back to? Because they're looking at this series so far like we weren't in control Game 1 till the third, And now we just got blown out. Like, they're not at the top of their game at all.
Yeah, and Prongs, does it concern you? And have you been on a team in the past where you're saying, hey, there's a few guys we need to zone in on here, where any chance you get, we're trying to run them through the wall to take those guys off their game, because that's the engine that drives their bus.
I think that was a renewed focus for the Blues. You know, you go into Winnipeg, they got a lot of young guys. They just that atmosphere, the whiteout, how loud that building can be. Last line change, you don't get your matchups, etc. Come home, you're like shot out of a cannon, physical. You the first 30 minutes of that game, they were pounding the defense, pounding on the top guys of Winnipeg. And as my concern was, as the game went along, they kind of got away from it. They started to sit back again until they got in the third. They started pressing again, and they got a couple more chances to score some goals. Much like they did in that first game, they were controlling the play until they sat back and we're going to defend and protect our lead. They have to keep their foot on their throat and keep pushing forward and just pound them relentlessly over and over again, because this one's going to be a long series. Winnipeg is a good team. Hellebuck is a good goalie. They'll rebound from this for sure. It's one game. I remember in 97, 95, 96, when Gretzky was on our team in St. Louis, we got smoked by the Red Wings 8-1 and came back and we were down 2-0 in Detroit, went home, won our 2 games, lost game 5, won game 6, and then lost that Stevie Yzerman's slap shot from the blue line in double overtime, I think.
What do you blame for that one?
John Casey was picking cherries. But you have to understand just the ebbs and flows and the momentum changes and the swings. You can't expect you're going to come in and sweep teams and think you're just going to roughshod over good hockey teams.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask about, like the momentum and everything. Huge win last night, St. Louis, but now they got to wait. There's 2 days in between the games. Does that change anything on either side? Is it to help one team or the other, or players? What are your thoughts on that?
And would Holloway maybe be back, or is he like week to week or something?
Yeah, I heard them say he was week to week at the beginning. So I'm not sure. I haven't been around there I haven't seen him skate or anything. I'm not sure if he's available for this series at all. I think there's 17 days if they go to 7, which would help him if they get to a second round. I think he might be available, or really late in the series maybe. But he was week to week at the beginning. Usually if you think you're going to see a guy, they'll be day to day.
Going back to what Murls asked though, does the 2 days off in between fuck you up?
I think it gives Winnipeg a chance to take a breath. So, they can look at what they did right in all 3 games. They did do some things right in that game, and they did kind of get back on their forecheck. Their bottom 2 lines played a lot in that third period, and they scored the 1 goal. They played with an edge, and they started running the Blues D a little bit, made it a little bit of a scrappy game. So I think from that perspective, they gained a little bit of a momentum back just in what those 2 lines could do and earn some more ice time. But it'll give Hellebuck a little extra day to kind of clear his head and allow their bodies to recover a little bit, make sure they're fresh for a noon start on Sunday.
Prongs, I don't know if you've spent any time around Monty, but it just seems like he's got like a grasp on that team. Like he's, giving them confidence. And I even go back to I think it was game 2, puck goes off Snuggerud's foot. I think Scheifele scored, but then he comes right back and scores right away. For a guy to just come out of college to like have that switch to be like, okay, I made a mistake. Now I'm going to go out and try to get it. Is that, you think stuff like that's coming from a guy like Monty, or it's the leaders on that team? And
yeah, I think it's both. Monty's, been excellent with these guys from the outset when he came in. We've talked about it countless times. I think having that 4 Nations break allowed him to kind of really dial in his systems, dial in how they wanted to play. They got a reset, if you will. And he's got a great demeanor around these guys. I think he learned an awful lot about being in the meat grinder of Boston. And that, the whole playoff rigmarole, the pressure packed moments. I don't think he really had when he was in his short stint in Dallas. So having that opportunity in Boston, I think he learned an awful lot about himself, his coaching system, his style, and he's able to really kind of take these young guys and put them in positions to really excel and succeed.
The other point of contention with Jets fans after Game 3, and it was 3-0 when Perfetti shot the puck, but that's probably a goal. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions. I think if it's called a goal, whatever was called on the ice was going to end up being the call. The overhead couldn't prove it. I thought the view looking on the net, almost like from above the blue line, showed that it's kind of obvious that Binnington's gloves inside the post and inside the goal line, but kind of a kick in the dick for the Jets fans. And even Perfetti, when he shot it, he kind of gets to the goal line, he starts pointing, that was in. But was it just more that it wasn't conclusive?
I would say probably two things. One, not conclusive. I saw another angle. I think it depends on which angle you're looking at, like from down this way or down this way. The one down this way looked like the glove, clearly part of the glove is in the net, but you can't see the edge of the puck.
Yeah.
And it looks like it might be touching the goal line. The puck has to be all the way across the goal line. So if it's inconclusive and the guy called a no goal on the ice, then it's no goal.
I wouldn't mind covering another series with you, Prongs, and I kind of want to get into the Florida-Tampa one if you've been paying attention to that one at all.
What's going to happen with Hagel?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What was your feeling on the hit? Because what I saw was a guy who it kind of looked like maybe he thought that Barkov had stripped McDonough of that puck, and that's why it got rimmed around.
Yeah.
And
I think he looked like he had hit it with his stick, right? He was tracking him. He was going to hit him, and it looked like he swatted it with his stick, so then he finished his check. Not knowing it.
So would you deem that suspendable? Or do you think the 5 for interference?
If he never touched it, yeah. He didn't touch the puck, so therefore he's not able to receive a check.
Now, Biz, or anyone, would it be a suspension based on the interference or solely if he caught him in the head with his shoulder? Because it was hard to tell if the principal point of contact was Barkey's head.
I think with anything with suspension, even if it's a slash, it's not to the head, you hit someone in the hand. If you still do something to hurt someone, I think it's still a suspendable offense, right? And to me, it looked like he was going to hit him he's an honest player. He's a guy who plays hard, but I don't know. It looked dirty as hell to me. I didn't like it. I obviously love Barkey more than anyone, so it's tough. I don't want to get too involved in it, but it's I think if you hit someone like that where the puck's not even close, it has nothing to do with the play. I think it's a suspendable offense.
I know it looked as though Barkey might have had the puck and rimmed it around or taken it from McDonough, but when you see the other angle, before Hagel hits him, it's pretty obvious he's looking at Barkov, could have seen that he never touched it. Maybe it's obviously happening so fast and he didn't realize his eyes could be just off the puck or off Barkov, but I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get suspended. Now, Barkov didn't return, so that's another aspect because they end up kind of going on if the guy's injured or not. So it was probably smart that he didn't come back.
They don't go on that. That is an addition if they do suspend him.
Okay.
And the player's injured. They don't go off that. It's more just on the act. And, if he's tracking him and, I think he was hoping he touched the puck.
So here's my thought though, and considering that Bennett was the guy who ended up getting Marchand, I feel like going into that, there was more intent than there was for Hagel, who followed through on the Barkov hit, assuming that Barkov stripped McDonough of that puck. When I first saw it, I thought that Barkov clearly poked the puck away from McDonough. So the minute that he touches that, you could argue, hey, that wasn't his guy and it was a split second late. Therefore, Hagel still ends up with a 5-minute interference major. I just think that because it was a hockey play, he was going in there to make a hockey play with no intent. Yeah, maybe he was trying to put him through the end wall, but fucking, you don't think Florida's trying to do that with every fucking hit that they're throwing from even a legal perspective? So if Bennett is tracking that puck and that's point, he's following through on that hit. So let's not be hypocrites about that. That's happening. And once again, we all know, especially the people evaluating the suspension, that Hagel clearly thought that it was stripped, and that's why he followed through on it. And the time between him having to decipher on whether he did or not, there's no way you can bail out of that hit. It's a split-second thing. We could slow down the tape as much as we want. I don't think he ends up getting a game. I definitely think that the game is going to police itself in this situation. If there's one team that's going to police it, it's going to be the team of Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and the list goes on of inmates. So this might get ugly
he
after
might
game
ask
2.
for a 4-game suspension so he doesn't have to play them.
Murls, I want to go to you because you texted the group. What has happened to the highest scoring team in the league, the Tampa Bay Lightning? 40 shots through 2 games.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, but I wanted to finish up on Hagel. You got to remember, they were on the power play at the time. It was 1-0. He's coming back there. It's not like at the end of the game where he's trying to hurt him, but he's probably thinking, all right, that's their best guy. I hit him. We turn this puck. It's a 4-on-3 going the other way. And then I think Barkov is hurt for sure. He didn't just stay in the locker room to get the suspension because it was a 1-0 game. And it was a 1-0 game because Tampa cannot score. Their power play it's despicable. They can't even get into the zone on this Florida Panther team.
No.
And they are just all over him. You know, the usual Kucherov, we talk about it all the time. You guys ask the guest about him picking it up off the wall, and then he has all this time. He's just getting it and just playing it into the middle and hoping like points there to get it. It's
they got a guy playing him pretty tight. And what's shocking about their zone entries and how brutal they've been, Florida stays pretty stagnant on the blue line. Like it's not like they go up ice and chase them down. Like they almost hang back a little bit where it's like four across the blue. Jan's like, how are they not getting in on that? And am I right in saying that they play pretty tight to the blue line?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams will have guys chase down. I like personally when a guy chase down because you beat one guy, there's more room. But for them, they got to figure out, if you're struggling getting it in, you got to, okay, let's chip it in, go get it. But I don't think that's the play for that team. They're a possession team, but it's also the Panthers are long. Their D are long. Their forwards do a good job of making them go to a spot that they want them to go to. It's not. It more looks like Florida is giving them what they want them to have, not Tampa getting what they want. So they got a lot to figure out there. But in zone, I like how Florida is aggressive. They move hard. They're chasing them down. They're giving them no time and space. But for their PP to be struggling like this and not getting them chances with the studs that they have on it, like they can't feel good about their game right now.
Hey, one last thing on the Hagel thing. He did get a 5-minute major.
Yes.
So that alone is, a lot of times that's the right call. In situations like that, if it's a hockey play, if it's deemed head-to-head wasn't a principal point of contact and he could have avoided it and on and on and on, sometimes the 5-minute major is all there is.
And I love the fact that they implemented the rule when you give the 5, at least they're able to review it, the refs, so they don't make a split-second decision and it ends up like factoring in on how the game plays out. So should be interesting to see that. But all the credit to Florida. Any way you want to play, they can fucking play. And
you wrote to us, I can't believe I switched my decision. You were on the Cats. You ended up going with the Lightning. I in the previews. I don't know. Was it who talked you into that? I don't remember. But I went with the Lightning too. And my thought was the amount of hockey over the past 2 years, and then the injuries with the Panthers, and now it's the same thing, Biz. I'm like, what was I doing not believing in this team? And you look at the lineups, and I think the top 2 lines can even themselves out. We saw that Jake Gensel stat. I think he's like 6th all time in goals per game in the playoffs. But it's go to the 3rd and 4th line on both teams, and look at Lundell, Luosterainen, and Marchand on that 3rd line. Like, you can't answer that with Tampa. And even on the 4th line, Nico Sturm's enormous. Evan Rodriguez was a top 2-line player at times last year when they win the Cup. He's on the 4th line, and Boquist flies around. So I think it's the 3rd and 4th line where when the top 2 aren't out there, Florida is just controlling play with their bottom 6 forwards. And that's why with the injuries, I thought they'd be too slow. I thought they wouldn't be ready. And Tkachuk comes back and gets 2 in game 1. It's like
they got AJ Greer in the press box too. I thought he had a great year as well. So they, like you said, Whit, they are just so fucking deep. And shocker that $49 million in the press box on the IR, all of a sudden, poof, They're back in the lineup.
And now
Who's
they
the
go
new cap
home and they get
circumcisers?
Ekblad back.
Yep. And Keith and I played golf with Jovo the other day, and he does the pre and post game for the Panthers, and he's telling us about this Sam Miskevich kid. He flies. He wasn't given anything in this lineup. Like, he really had to work his way up, and that's a reason Rodriguez is on the fourth line, because this kid has just gotten better and better this year, and it's another addition that wasn't even doing anything for Florida last year when they won the Cup. So it just seems like anyone who thought that Florida was done is looking like a fool right now, kind of all of us included. And we'll see where it goes from here, but not Keith. Not
Can
Keith.
we talk about Nate Conn Smythe Schmidt? The guy is scoring at a fucking clip right now. It's unbelievable.
I think it's the most goals through 2 playoff
Cale
games
Schmidt.
in NHL history by a defenseman.
Wow.
Cale Schmidt.
Got 3 already. Murls, anything else on this series kind of sticking out to you?
I'm embarrassed. I fell for it again. I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. I'm not on Florida. I'm an idiot. Like, I'm basically a season ticket holder to the Elbow Room. I don't know why I would pick against that.
Hey, boys, no Barkov, though. Do you think that Tampa has an opportunity to come back in the series? No, Jans? You think no matter what, even if he doesn't play?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, Barkey's obviously a presence out there. I don't think he's had his best 2 games or his most dominant 2 games that he's ever played. Like, it's kind of been by, everyone kind of pitching in the first 2 games. Obviously, he'll be missed, just in the locker room. And, he's a number 1. He's power play PK. He's doing everything. But I think that they can get it done by committee. They get Eki back for this game. So it's going to be, you're going to get that boost to having him. I don't think they'll miss him as much this series, and hopefully he's just back for next.
One thing that did stand out on the first goal they scored was Barkov going against Gensel on the draw. Did you guys see the breakdown we did on TNT?
No.
I was surprised. Like, Gensel's a winger, but he ended up taking over 300 faceoffs this year, the most he's ever done in his career, at least by double. He's 46% in the draw, which is not good. Barkey was 78% in game 1. They got Gensel taking fucking defensive zone faceoffs against Barkov.
That's not going to work.
He's going Popeye wrists on him and snapping him back. That's how they got the first goal, where Reinhardt ended up signing it over to Nate Schmidt. So those are the little things where you're going to miss Barkey, inside the dot, and the little intangibles as much as all the other shit he does too. So that was just something that I picked up that I thought was weird, that Gensel as I mean, maybe they have him listed as a center on Hockey DB or whatever, but I feel like he's been playing wing not most of his career, most of the season. But for him as a winger to take over fucking 350 faceoffs, is that not crazy?
That is nuts. And he'd been with Crosby for so long, he was never taking draws, right? So I think that the other thing that is kind of hurting Florida with the Barkov health thing is game 3's at 1:00 Saturday. So it's just an even earlier time. I'd be surprised with him not coming back, as Murls said, in such a close game, if he's good to go after just having today to rest before a quick puck drop tomorrow. My final thing on this series, unless I was seeing things, when Tampa was trying to tie it up late, Cernak was on the ice. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Was that the Chara method of sticking the monster in front of the net? Why was Cernak on the ice?
He ended up with the best chance.
I
of all
know,
of them,
but why
too.
would he have it?
Yeah.
Well, Prongs, thank you so much for joining, man. I love that. I don't know. Am I imagining in the past few months you've gotten more active on Twitter, really tweeting out your takes and what you're noticing from the game? But it's great nonetheless, and
Thank you.
we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This episode of Spittin Chiclets is brought to you by Body Armor Sports Drink. Body Armor is real hydration with electrolytes, coconut water, and no artificial dyes. None of that crap. No bad artificial flavors or sweeteners. And with your favorite flavors like strawberry banana and orange mango, but in a brand new look you're going to love. Look at Mur right there. Mur, how does it keep you hydrated? What's your flavor? What's your go-to? How much do you love the new bottle?
Well, you know me, Whit. I still play the beer league, and it's essential at our age not to pull something. You got to stay hydrated. And I always go with this one, the strawberry banana. I grab one of these on the ride over. I pound it right before the game. I bring another one out to the bench because, after the game, I'm probably having something else. But the next morning, I'm waking up after beer league, and I'm on the Body Armor again. It's the best. Get yours today.
I've always been a strawberry banana guy, right? You like strawberry banana smoothies? Well, try the Body Armor strawberry banana. Oh my God, this thing's unbelievable. And it's time to rewrite your routine and get rid of the sports drink that your grandparents drank. Get your Body Armor today at Walmart or a local grocery store near you. Body Armor, choose better. All right, guys, whether you're ripping clappers on the ice or making moves in the markets, you need speed, precision, and a game plan. And that's why we're rolling with Kraken, the official crypto exchange of Spittin Chiclets. When it comes to buying, selling, and swapping over 300 different cryptocurrencies, Kraken is the real deal. No slow plays, no laggy platforms, just deep liquidity, fast execution, and a rock-solid trading experience. And here's the best part. You can set up recurring buys and dollar cost average without the hassle. No stressing over market timing or letting emotions take over. Just link your bank in minutes, automate your Bitcoin purchases monthly, weekly, or even daily if you want to. Lower fees than card transactions and no more manual deposits. Just stack sats like a beauty. Look, crypto is a lot like hockey. You don't just throw the puck around blind and hope for the best. You need a game plan, and whether you're stacking Bitcoin for the long haul or diving into the wild world of meme coins, Kraken's got your back. And here's the cherry on top. Kraken is rewarding up to $200 in USD when you share your referral link with family and friends. Get your buddies in the game, and everybody wins. So don't be a pylon like me. Get off the bench, get on Kraken, and start stacking. Head to kraken.com/barstool. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to U.S. customers, excluding Washington, New York, and Maine, through Payward Interactive. Thank you very much, Hall of Famer Chris Pronger. That guy played mean. That guy in the playoffs was an animal and just carried teams. So it's interesting to hear him talk about a true number one to himself. And he's just chucking around he's a number 3, he's a number 2. Guys are just listening like, what the fuck? Imagine what he thinks of a number 6.
Oh, disgusted. When my first or second year in Florida, he was working with the team, and he came out one day and he was showing us how to box out because we had like younger guys. He's showing guys how to box out. He's like, Jens, come from the corner and, I'll show you guys how to box out. He hit me with a cross check. My arm was dead for 2 weeks. And I'm like, guy, you're not playing. You're not on the team right now. But he's one of those guys who just can't turn it off when he's on the ice. Just played so mean, but he was so fucking good.
No, he can't play men's league. He would kill someone.
He doesn't even get asked to play charity games. That's how fucking hardcore he is.
Well,
They're
Bieber,
like,
he fucking ruined Bieber.
Honorary coach.
He hit Biebs.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I forgot.
What I always used to say about Prongs is he would take so many penalties that they couldn't just keep calling him on him. So he would just keep doing it all game, slashing, cross-checking. Like, they put him in the box once, they couldn't just keep doing it. He was nuts. And then he would threaten the ref on the way to the box. So then they definitely weren't calling more on him.
Oh,
he was
no.
nuts.
Boys, we still got a lot of hockey to get to, man. This is awesome. What a first round.
It is, and we say it every year, but like every single night you get 3 or 4 games. The early one ends, then you're just kicking off, and that kind of leads us into Dallas, Colorado, boys. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I think Avs fans right now, if you told them no Robertson, no Heiskanen, and you'd be down 2-1 after game 3, they'd be shocked. Absolutely shocked. And
I think I took Dallas.
Yeah, fair enough. You're on fire right now. This is kind of that rookie luck of the first playoffs you've had as a member of the pod. I don't know where you guys want to go here. I think that Dallas is just showing that game 1, they did not panic, right, going into game 2. I think right now Colorado's got to be thinking, fuck, we let one slip away game 2, man. Like, we had to shut the door in that game. But Rantanen in game 2 made that awesome strip, and then he moved it up to Marchment, who made a phenomenal play. Kind of bitch Devon Taves, was driving the net, put his body into him, spun around. That's Sagan OT winner. To kick it up to himself that quick and then go shelf over Blackwood's glove. Just an incredible goal. Nobody really saw that coming. And Dallas right now, they're laughing, boys. They probably think, all right, if we're up right now 2-1, at some point Heskinen's going to come back. And by being up 2-1, you can almost delay it. like, right? If you're down 2-1, maybe we got to get him in game 4. Nope. Now if we lose, we're tied and we're going home, and then we could bring him back in possibly. I don't know his status completely, but somebody take it away so far on this series.
Well, I was gonna say like this probably the most special moment in probably the last few years as far as Landeskog coming back and getting that ovation at home. It never felt like it was going to be real. It was like all this build up. Like, is he actually going to play? And he did, and it was spoiled by the Dallas Stars, ruining that one in overtime. So,
Biz, quickly, the Landeskog comeback, just to put it into perspective, it was 1,032 days between his last NHL game. The other guys that have gone that long between playing a game, captains in the NHL, Sil Apps for Toronto, it was 1,009 days. And Sid Abel for the Red Wings, it was 1,045 days. Both of them were in World War II. That's why they missed that much time.
That is fucking nuts.
I mean,
for you kids listening, okay, when you're fucking complaining you don't got your iPad or about this or that, just remember, players in the NHL stopped playing in the NHL, went and fought in a world war, and then came back to action. So times have changed. But shout out to those 3 guys for going through what they went through and coming back to play. And just a very inspiring story, Jans. I'll throw it over to you to just touch on what Landeskog has done.
Yeah, amazing. Anytime you're mentioned in a sentence with guys that fought in a war and are named Sly and Sid Abel, like just old school names. So just couldn't be happier for him. Obviously, it sucks they couldn't get the win for him, but just seeing his family on the glass and, just how happy he looked to be back in his comfort place. Because, as hockey players, that's all you know is just being in that comfort place and your comfort zone of being around the guys and driving to the rink, like getting your routine back. Like just his mental, he just must be so mentally clear right now. And just, I'm just hoping he felt good after the game and, didn't aggravate anything. But great for the game that he's back in. Dallas is, like, I think game 1, we talked about it a little bit. Like, I didn't love Jamie Benn's game. He didn't play the crazy, run around hitting guys. And then game 2, they brought the heat. Him, Marchman, just bringing it to Colorado. Kind of looks like they're taking their will away. And that last game was the first game I've ever seen Cale Makar make more than one mistake. He made, the 3 mistakes. I was making 3 mistakes a shift. But Cale Makar made 3 mistakes in that game, and I have never seen him make mistakes like that. So something's going on there. But Dallas, got to give them a shout out. They're playing awesome.
Rope-a-dope, Whit. Colorado has led for the entire series other than 62 seconds of it, right? So that's one thing that stands out where you said, they should probably win game 2. Now, I don't know the backstory great, but if you want to go back to that game 2 overtime winner from Colin Blackwell, I'll probably call you on. You posted about it, but what's the backstory with him where maybe he was almost done playing, and obviously he's had a bit of a journeyman style career where he's bounced around, but that's a huge goal for that organization to get them right back in the series.
Yeah, Blackwell, shout out Valley Junior Warriors legend. He actually had to take a full year off in college because of concussions. So it took him, we posted the clip online. It took an internship interview. He's sitting in an internship interview and he's like, they're going around the horn. Hey, what do you want to do when you're older? And it clicked in his head like, this ain't for me. I got to go back to hockey. I got to keep working on this. And it's been a long road. So many years in the AHL, had a long career in Milwaukee, 32 years old, and he's finally getting, he got a little time in New York a couple of years ago playing top line minutes there, but it's just awesome to see like any guy that's overcame all this. And it wasn't just concussions. He's had so many injuries over the years. So it's just awesome to see a local kid do his thing.
So, apparently, Nick Kyprios was mentioning that he's hearing that Heiskanen isn't really that close and is probably out for the series. If that's the case, that just shows how important Thomas Harley is to this team. You saw the pass. It's actually a great little clip of the goal that tied it up in Game 3 with about 10 minutes left. I think Granlund has it, uses Ben as the bumper guy in the middle, who throws it right back up to Harley, who give and goes it right back to Ben for a beautiful tip. But that's the second game in a row that they tied it up in the third with 10 minutes to go. right? So Colorado has this series, they could be up 3-0, really, if they're able to close it out. It sounds crazy. But what impressed me so much from Dallas was Marchment gets the high sticking penalty on Brock Nelson with 30 seconds to go. And it's a double minor. They get through regulation. All right, let's just get this 30 seconds. We'll get to overtime. You can talk about things at the intermission. And they get 3.5 minutes of a kill.
Clean ice.
Clean sheet.
On clean ice against one of the best power plays in the league. And then they go on to get that win. Part of that kill involved Esa Lundell, who is so good and quietly good. Kind of what I was talking about with the Maple Leafs defenseman, where he's never really going end to end. There's not going to be a ton of, goal line to red line breakout passes, sending guys in on breakaways. Just solid. Great defensively. Plays a lot because DeBoer knows when he's out there, really nothing bad happens. In that PK, you saw one of the most incredible moves. He's got his hand wide open like he's wearing a goalie glove, making saves, keeping it out of his net. But to get a 3.5-minute kill in OT, after you're able to get it, you're like, we got this game, guys. Like, we just got through this. We had no business just killing it against that power play in their building. We're going to get the win, and they did. So it seems like, Rantanen looked better. We were kind of calling him out a little bit. And for Blackwell to get the winner in Game 2, I had pumped up Maverick Bourque after Game 1, even though it was a loss. They actually took him out of the lineup, so it shows what I know. But they put Blackwell in, and he's able to get that goal. I don't remember the forward. Somebody skated right by him on Colorado. I think it was Miles Wood. Was it Miles Wood? Gee, can you look up the Blackwell game winner?
Yeah, it was. It was.
And it was like, I think right away, Wood skates behind the net like, oh my God, what did I just do? I don't really know what happened, but Blackwell stuck with it after kind of getting pushed off the puck. And all of a sudden, Dallas is tying up the series, and they're going to Colorado, and now they're up one. So I don't know where Colorado goes from here. Did you think McKinnon was a little quiet for himself in Game 3, Biz?
Well, ask the guy who he stole his number from.
Sorry, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I've noticed this in all the playoffs. We've already talked about a couple of them, how these power plays are just momentum builders or killers. And it's the same with Edmonton Oilers, team that always could rely on that power play. They're not getting it done. Vegas, who we're going to talk about, they can't get it done, and they're behind. Now it's Colorado. They usually rely on this power play to get things done. Tampa Bay, we just talked about, can't get anything done on their power play. I think when you get in these series, the coaching and the video is so good, they're taking away what you're normally doing, what you feel comfortable with. And I think Colorado just does not look comfortable with their setup. Sometimes Natchez is down low where McKinnon is. The 1-5-on-3 early in the series, I think you talked about it. Or was that on ESPN? I can't remember. TNT. They had McKinnon on the wrong side. Yeah, it was Gretzky, where they had McKinnon on the wrong side. They have them all mixed up. But at the end of the day, as you guys like to say, I think Colorado took them easy, just like we all did, because Heiskanen and Robertson were out. They realize what's going on now. We're going to see a different team on Saturday. I think they're going to blow the doors off them on Saturday. It's going to be 2-2 going back to Dallas.
Wow.
I think Ottinger right now is finding a groove, man.
I think that after Blackwood's performance in Game 1, a lot of pressure was put on Ottinger, and I thought that he was tremendous in Game 3 especially. So I as good as he's been in the playoff runs, I think that there is a little bit of a question mark on this guy right now, and can he win the big ones? And I think that he has to get locked in, and from what we saw in Game 3, if that's going to continue, that's the Ottinger that scares me. So they better fucking hope that Blackwood keeps playing that way that he's playing. Also, Colorado needs to hope that Natchez can get going a little bit offensively, getting back to the groove that he was in when he first got moved over there, and as well as that secondary scoring for Colorado. They can't just expect for the big dogs to get it done. Like you need everyone along the run here, and you're going to need those bottom six guys contributing. And you mentioned the mistake that Wood made on the over back chuck or lack of coverage on that Blackwell goal. Like, those guys are going to have to step up to a man, because the dog, he's done enough for that fucking team, and he'll continue to do so. It's time for the other guys to elevate their play, including, I don't know if he's still on the power play, Murls, Drouin.
It's crazy, man.
It's
I think
fucking,
that's all he does,
bro. It's just like
he's just throwing it away.
Is this like a Make-A-Wish situation? Like, what the fuck is hhappening right now?
That's what they're losing momentum every time. It seems they go on the power play. They've gotten a couple in the series, but that's just out of just McKinnon is so nasty. It's not clicking. Rantanen not being on that side is a difference because then Nate just wants to be over there with Nate. He keeps ending up over there and it's throwing off the whole dynamic. I want to see Nate in his spot, put Lehkonen on the other half wall, put Nate just in at the bumper. And then
maybe if they eat salary, maybe they can get Rantanen to just play the power play for Colorado and then just kind of send him back when it's back to 5-on-5. But it would be very biblical if we had a Rantanen pop off in the back half of the series for the true Rantanen revenge. Because right now it's looking like the real thieves are Carolina with Stagger leg. Do the Stagger leg.
I think a little play, and a lot of people are talking about it, like the little play that he made to get them that overtime winner, just, holding off, making the good play at the blue line, smart little chip. I think that's a little play for a guy like that to just really get going. Like, it's just a little bit of a confidence boost.
And a point, and getting a point. It's like, doesn't matter how you get the point.
And he did it the right way. It's not like a power play assist where it's like, okay, I'm expected to have that. It's a play where it's a hard-nosed play. You get the puck out of the zone, you make a smart chip, and you win the game for your team. So I think that could really, help set him off to have his offensive skill just take over next game.
Murls, I don't hate your call of Colorado game 4 because I think, as Keith mentioned, Makar, off night for him. He's going to answer the bell and respond in a great way. It does suck, and you talk about Robertson and Heiskanen. Ross Colton I think he's day-to-day. He's a playoff-style player. He's running around all the time. He scores goals in front of the net. We'll see if he can get back in the lineup. I don't know what exactly he's battling, but quickly on Dallas and their depth, you got Hintz with Rantanen and Granlund. You got Duchesne with Sagan and Marchment, and you got Wyatt Johnson with Jamie Benn and Dodonov. That's without Robertson, man. That is fucking a legit top 9 missing your best forward. So
that
crazy
Dadonov's a gamer too.
Yeah.
He's a fucking gamer.
He's the best.
They were saying, I believe he had a hat trick or 2 goals in one game, but the other last 29, 30 games of the year, he had 1 goal or maybe 2. So he'd been cold. And then he got that big goal early in this series. So I can't wait to see what happens. Kind of feel like, and I hate doing the must-win thing, if you're going back to Dallas 3-1, how are you going to beat Dallas 3 games in a row? So Colorado's at home. They got to get this thing done, and we'll see what happens. But this has been an awesome series so far, and I've been very impressed with Dallas kind of sticking by. Go ahead.
Jans, why is Dadonov the band? What's how do you know?
I love him. I play with him here. He's he's a great guy, just always having fun, but I thought he was one of the best bumper players I played with at that center ice, finding that little area. He relieved so much pressure for us on the power play. I think that year we were second or third in the league. He was awesome. But going back to Dallas's depth, Alex Petrovic, I want to give him a quick shout out. Played pretty much the whole year in the minors. Been in the minors the last couple of years and comes in and he's playing well. He's helping them out. And
he did this last year too. They just bring him up for the playoffs.
He should just not play all year.
I remember meeting Petro. I got sent down to San Antonio, and he was there. And on that road trip, I became his roommate. So I came into the room. He was out. Came home late. I think we had an afternoon game, too. He's beautiful. And then he just had a toothbrush. Or he might have even forgot the toothbrush and only had his cell phone charger. Very old school guy, tough defenseman. But, yeah, it's impressive that he's in there once again.
Toothbrush and rubbers.
Playing little minutes, but doing a good job. But, guys, I apologized online. And I'm going to say it right now in the pod. The Minnesota Wild, I underestimated you. I didn't believe in you. After game 1, I just was, Vegas is going to have an easy walkthrough before they get what looks to be LA. The Minnesota Wild, guys, I was reminded by a couple fans, deservedly so, really giving it to me in my DMs and the mentions. You don't know what you're talking about because this team, with everyone healthy, was a top 5 team in the league. One of the best teams in the league.
And, they were.
And Kaprizov was the MVP of the league before he got hurt. And this guy missed half the season. And he's come back. And Eriksson missed a long time. And he is dominating. Right now, Kaprizov, every time he's on the ice, has the puck the entire time, It's never in his own zone. He's wheeling around the offensive zone. He's finding guys. He's scoring, and he's making it look so easy for a guy. We're talking about Parayko and these people coming back from injuries and feeling their way through. Not for Kaprizov. It's a joke to him right now, and the Wild look incredible.
I don't want to disrespect them anymore. I have to go take a shit right now, but I'll give them this before I go take a number 2. They have the hottest line in the league right now with Eriksson Ek, Matt Boldy, and Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. 4 goals for Matt Boldy. These guys are fucking electric right now, and they're going against what we thought was one of the best lines in the league in Stone, Eichel, and Barbashev, and they're chewing them up. They're chewing up their whole fucking team right now. So, Murls, you're the Vegas guy. You have a future on them. Your team better wake the fuck up, or Minnesota is going to steal a series from them.
Yeah, talking about shit, the entire Vegas Golden Knights team is playing like shit. Game 1 that they won, they really didn't deserve to win that game. They snuck through that game. It's been brutal. It all starts at the top, like we always talk about. The best players got to be your best players. Eichel, no points, -5, while at the same time, Boldy and Kaprizov, 8 goals, 5 assists, or something crazy like that. Hill, awful shaky in net. I said it last night on Twitter. You know, I'm going full Whitney mode on the Oilers. Like, I'm almost quitting on them so that they'll go to the finals like you did last year. But I said you got to put Schmid in for the 3rd period. If he shuts the door in net, he gets the next start. You got nothing to lose up here. He looks like a roller hockey goalie out there. He's all over the place. He doesn't have his hand up. He's not out on plays. And I think you put Schmid in there. He's been great for them. Remember him for the Devils a couple years ago? The playoffs was no pressure for him. It was his first starts of the year, I think. And I think when you put a backup goalie in like that, it wakes the entire team up.
Yeah.
Because this team is asleep. They thought it was going to be easy. They got through game 1 not playing well. They thought it was going to be simple. We're Vegas. We were the best team. They are not good. They are in trouble. Minnesota is good. Notice, me and Army were the only ones that had Minnesota making the playoffs. So I was a Minnesota guy, but I did disrespect them because of my Vegas future.
Army said it last night on the group chat. They look so much faster. Like, either Vegas looks slow or Minnesota's this fast, or Vegas is just playing slow with moving the puck, but they're getting outskated, outworked. Like, it's not even close right now. And this number these numbers G just sent over, shots on goal were 11-0 for Minnesota in Matt Boldy's 12 minutes and 19 seconds of 5-on-5, and they were 21-2 in Kaprizov's 21 total minutes in Game 3. If you're 21-2, he was on the ice for 2 shots against in over 21 minutes of ice time. It shows that, like, nobody can match up with him. And I don't think anyone saw, like, yeah, Kaprizov, everyone knows when healthy, MVP candidate, truly one of the best players in the league. But you're looking at it like, well, Eichel can answer that. Eichel can play against anyone. And right now, it's like, I don't know if maybe Stone's lack of quickness is really hurting that line. That's unfair to maybe put it on one guy, but I'm just trying to think, like, how can they not answer it at all? And right now, like, Boldy, it's like he's coming into his own. He just turned 24 a couple weeks ago. Imagine him in 4 or 5 years, dude, because he's long, he's like rangy, he's so skilled. The play last night, I believe, to make it 3-1. I will say Vegas has a legit bitch.
Should have been an icing.
That was icing.
It was icing.
Because the biggest part about it was Petro made a legit, honest effort to reach out and get it. When the defenseman does that and doesn't touch it, arm goes up. But they wave it off. But Hannafin does a couple shoulder checks, and on the broadcast biz, you guys, I think he gave 2 left shoulder checks. But I don't know if it was Anson or yourself who mentioned he just kind of had to wheel the net and hit the winger. But he tries for the reverse to Petro. But Boldy, who chased down that forecheck, he ends up picking up that pass. And then even then, Hannafin almost got it away from him, but he lifts his stick and just snipes that thing top shelf, and boom, 3-1. And like that Hartman play, Biz, you mentioned or Keith said he's a dog. What a play just to get it to the net. And that 4-1 goal was the game. Because if it's 3-1 going into the third, you're alive. But nope.
That was it. It was actually Edzo who picked it up on the broadcast.
Yes, sorry.
When he was going to the wall, he looked up at the score clock to see what the time was. And, Hanifin, I love him as a player, unbelievable guy, tough night. I believe he was defending Kaprizov in front of the net and ended up just banking off him. But for him to just grab that puck and throw it there, I'm sure Vegas is thinking, oh, this period's over. All right, we can manage this one. But that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But Boldy's turning into a superstar, man.
Yep.
Like he'll throw hits. He can make plays. His finishing abilities, like the effort that he's providing out there, just incredible to watch. And him teamed up with Kirill the Thrill. Like I just went and dropped a massive deuce, but I don't know how much of a tire pump that you gave him. Like his edge work, his ability to protect the puck and take punishment, like probably should draw more penalties than he does, but sometimes the Russians don't always get the calls.
He fights through them too, though.
He fights through them like a fucking bastard. He's a mutant. He's worth the price of admission, and I don't have enough positive things to say about him. I would say for sure top 5 player in the league individually, like top 5.
Yep.
When he's going and he's healthy, it's pretty remarkable. But
and what he means to a team, he's top 2.
Oh,
he should get $15 million a year.
Or
he might get stake in the team.
Yeah. No, he
also,
will for sure.
Gustafsson, Murb, quickly, to give up that goal, you're up 2-0. Dream start at home. Excel Center's going bananas. And he gives up, I think, one of the worst goals we've seen in the playoffs. A slap shot, no screen, no tip, on the ice, 5 holes. He's trying to, as Lundqvist mentioned, he's trying to deflect it in the corner. But he then fucking answered the bell. And that's a goal where it's like, that could break a goalie. Like, oh my God, we're up 2-0. I let that in. No, dude, he stood tall. I think Vegas ended up with 31 shots, but back-to-back 5-2 wins. You don't see, Oilers give up 12. Who saw Vegas giving up 10 2 games in a row?
And that's why I'm looking for the goalie change, because Gustafsson feels so safe in there. Any shot Vegas gets, I'm like, oh, that's not in. But what really got me going is their power play last night. All year, they fed on Eichel down to Stone on the goal line, popping it into Hurdle, or popping it straight across to the other flank for Dorofeev, who had 35 goals or something. But if you watch the games, I don't know how these coaches aren't seeing these adjustments. All they're doing is taking those away and leaving the D up top open. So they had Theodore there forever, and he's not a shooter. So he's wide open. Eichel just gives it to him, but he doesn't shoot, so he's just looking to give it back, and that's all they've been doing is passing it back and forth. So last night they make the adjustment. They put Hanifin there. He's not much of a shooter either, but that's the guy who's open. It's right in the center of the ice. I want to see Olofsson go there. Sneak Olofsson down. Take the Kings, who's got the best power play right now, 5 forwards. The Maple Leafs, 5 forward PP.
Yeah.
Vegas, got to go to the 5 forwards. Get an absolute shooter right there. It's going to work the first time. Nobody's going to cover him because they're taking everything away. Once that goes in, your normal plays will open up. So that's my coaching rant for my Vegas Golden Knights.
Holy fuck, Mur. I like that. Wow, man. You should be.
Sorry.
No wonder RPI
ahead,
wanted you.
Then I got some breaking news, apparently.
Breaking news?
We're going to throw it over to G for this breaking news.
Darren Dreger just posted a little twist in the Battle of Ontario with allegations of pregame shenanigans last night. Sources say the NHL is looking at an incident in warmups prior to the Game 3 between the Leafs Senators, undetermined whether league discipline will follow. He then posted 20 minutes later, source indicates this is the incident in question. Sens players were firing pucks at Stellares in warmups.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are
Suck
you
on that,
fucking
Biz.
kidding me?
No respect.
Those playoff fucking virgins. That is something a virgin would do. Chucking pucks down the other to try to get in Stolar's head because he fucking owns you with the fucking Inglewood chop in the leg game 1 or game 2, excuse me. That's absolute fucking bullshit. You tell Craig Berube and the Toronto Maple Leafs that they can dress me and Revo for game 4 if they want to handle business appropriately. I'll come over the top fucking ropes and warm up. You want to fire pucks at my goalie?
Well, he can defend himself.
4 seasons for this.
He can defend himself. How about he told the refs before game 3, yeah, have my back and I'll behave myself out there.
That's just Ontario. When I played in the Metro Toronto Junior League, we first time the guy stole our net, They took our net for warm-ups, and so we didn't have a net for warm-ups. Another game, the guy took a slap shot. His name was Andre Rivard, I think his name was, played for the Quinny Hawks. He took a slap shot, came down, hit our guy, Andrew Morley, right in the neck as he's standing in line for the horseshoe drill. Boom. Dropped like a bag of potatoes. So then the next game, in the next series, we took the other team's pucks, and then we had a bench clearing brawl and warm-up. So that's just normal Ontario activity in the playoffs.
I'm serious, though. I think that they should dress Revo and just put him in warm-up and have him stand at the red line. Like, why not? You're paying him $1.5 million. Have him fucking work the aux cord for the game, too.
But if they know he's not playing, you think...
Fish just wrote in the group chat, he goes, just adds to Stolar's save percentage. Fishy.
One right off the temple.
Fishy from
Fish
the top
on the board.
ropes. Hey, jump on the bandwagon, Fishy. We love you, buddy.
Well,
oh, my God.
We talked about some crazy shit in Ontario. I think Friday night tonight we're gonna see some crazy things in Montreal. And I don't know how Canadiens fans feel. I mean, definitely in the series, right? Like, I mean, look, as an Oilers fan, fuck, how much better has Montreal been and down 0-2 than the Oilers going back home down 0-2? I couldn't believe Slavkovsky's kind of interview after. He looked like he was going to start crying. Like, credit to the Canadiens and them not just looking at it, which players wouldn't, but them not just being like, hey, we got in. Nobody thought we could get in. We're here. No, I mean, they think they can win this series. I don't know if it's possible. I will say that Logan Thompson at the end of game 2 was incredible. I mean, Montreal was all over them, and we wondered if he even be ready to play in this series right before it started. But Washington has not been as dominant as I thought. Yes, up 2-0, everything's gravy for them, but Montreal's been better than I thought they'd be.
I thought the pace has been great, and it's been very entertaining hockey. Back and forth. I think both goaltenders have been awesome, including Montembeault. Probably leading into the series, the thing that surprised me the most was when Patrick Laine was asked about Alexander Ovechkin and facing off against the greatest goal scorer of all time. Him being Patrick Laine, I'm speaking of, being a very one-dimensional player and only really scoring goals. I thought it was an opportunity for him to say, yeah, this is cool. You know, we got the chance to knock off the top seed in the East and the greatest goal scorer of all time. No, he's like, I could care less. Well,
I don't think he cares about much.
I don't know if Ovi and the boys got wind of that quote, but fucking Ovi, 2 goals and an assist in game 1, including the overtime winner, the first of his NHL career, which I was shocked to hear that was the first overtime
that
winner.
Laine didn't get the puck deep in on that play.
Yep.
That Ovi scored in overtime.
Well, it just came full circle, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And I was perplexed by that and essentially adding fuel to Washington's fire. Like, do you think that Ovi caught wind of those quotes? Because it felt like after he scored that first goal in that game, there was a little extra on that celebration. There was a little bit of extra oomph. You think he's reading the clippings?
It's bulletin board material. You don't fucking give it to the other team, Patrick Laine, especially when you're going against a guy you've copied the way that he's played the last 20 years.
One part of it.
Besides
the one
hitting.
part of it. Yeah, the one-timer part of it. But you do not give a street beast like Alexander Ovechkin any ammo. Stay away. Let him sleep. Don't do anything. Sure
now,
as shit
apparently
gets the
people
OT.
said, there was a lot of noise about, hey, you ask a Finnish guy about a Russian, like if you know the history of Finland and Russia, he might not be that into the Russian.
Well, I mean, he doesn't control the nukes. I mean, he's just a fucking goal scorer.
Fairness, I think that Ovi's country did try invading his country. Now, granted, they weren't alive, but Laine ends up not even playing in the third period of game 2. I mean, St. Louis is just like, all right, you're done. Like you're not doing anything out there. But back to game 1, because we had recorded before game 1. Biz Anthony Bolivier has been what a pickup.
That's Backstrom. That's Backstrom reincarnated. I didn't know if you guys knew that.
Nobody talked about him or Kuzmenko, and they've been 2 of the best pickups from the deadline.
The Washington Capitals have not missed on an ad to their team, which seems like forever. And, you know, he was a pretty streaky player with the Pittsburgh Penguins, But when they got him, I was like, you know what, man? Like the 2 runs that he's been on with the Islanders, he was pretty good offensively. And then I ended up looking up his numbers. Like I want to say he's gotten close to 40 playoff points in close to 70 playoff games. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to Google it again quickly here on his hockey DB, but just making plays out there. He looks incredible. So in 57 playoff games, he's got 34 points. For a guy like Anthony, that's a pretty good staggering playoff number performance. So fitting in like a glove right on that top line, and he's making 1.25. So just to go out and add a cheap ad like that who could fit in on a top line, who was maybe having a streaky year, just incredible. And it just goes to tire pump their scouting staff who have continued to add gems in the last 12 months that have helped this team.
I think it's wild to see, that OT winner Ovi gets in game 1. Like, that's an enormous goal, dude. You're up 2-0. Montreal ties it up. Game 1, you lose that game. All of a sudden, it's like 2010 flashbacks, and Ovi steps up. He's the guy who gets it done on a beautiful pass. And then you go to game 2, Montreal goes up 1-0 in the second period, and it takes Washington about a minute, boom, and they tie it up. Like, they're not going to allow Montreal to get any sort of momentum, it seems like.
Yeah, it's wild. The wild part of it, though, is Ovechkin first ever playoff OT winner, which is ridiculous because he's the greatest goal scorer of all time. And Capitals were something different there, but Montreal's not out of this. I feel a lot like the St. Louis series where they had chances to win both those games. Yeah, the better team ended up winning. They're up 2-0, but I like Montreal. I like the way they've played. They don't look like Ottawa. Ottawa looks a little more like rookies in the playoffs, like you guys talked about already. I like this Montreal team. I like them tonight. We saw the atmosphere up there, Four Nations, with the hot dogs and the giant beers up in the rafters, those fans. I like their chances to win both games at home here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And G mentions on the chat that I think with what Biz said too about the pickups and the trades, like Chris Patrick, he's walking away with GM of the year, right?
I would say him or McFarland in Colorado for that overhaul.
Yeah,
I mean, like
they did bring in 2 new goalies midseason. That's a good one, but just Washington. Merle, I like that though. I'm interested to see tonight. That Washington goes into this game, and for everyone listening, if you haven't been to a Canadiens game, the pregame show, the lights, the music, there's nothing like it. Washington's sitting in the locker room saying, guys, first 10. Get through the first 10. And I'm talking even being down 1-0 after 10 minutes. All right, fine. Game settles in. We got 50 minutes to go. It's if what happens like St. Louis, Winnipeg, game 3, that's the disaster. That it's 2 goals, that the crowd's going bananas, that they're out hitting you, they're all over you. But we'll see Montreal come out very fast, very hard, and we'll see what can happen. But Logan Thompson's been the story in my mind. Game 2 performance. Ovi obviously doing his thing. I mean, it was funny. The first goal of the series for Ovi was exactly like his record-breaking goal. Right from the same spot.
Right,
Ryder's like getting more into Ovi since he broke the record. We're watching the game. He goes, that's his spot. I'm like, yep. Even you're 7. He's been scoring goals for 17 years. So it's been cool to see Washington really kind of shut up a lot of people through the first 2 games. But I do agree, Murr, that Montreal's not dead. Like, Edmonton is way more dead than Montreal is.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what happened to Demidov? Like, has he even been I haven't noticed him at all.
I know. I think that
he got put to the 4th line.
That's the step that's the up and play. That's the physicality. Like, I saw Wilson kind of following around, giving him some cross checks. Like, whoa. This is not playing Sharapovitz in the first round in Ska and having 10 minutes with the puck every time I get it. No,
having the refs in my pocket.
Having the refs in my pocket because I'm on St. Petersburg. No, this is Tom Wilson. And Ovi running at me. Ovi also has thrown like 6 enormous hits. He crushed Caulfield.
He was chucking him around like a kettlebell. He's just fucking 10-pound kettlebell just buzzing him around. I thought Caulfield's played great though. Suzuki's looked awesome.
Hey, Suzuki's goal in game 1 to tie it up, that was sick because like I think all of us, at least, most guys are just ripping it right when you get it. he got that head up, took that one step, and it's a wide open net. He has been very good.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and,
that was sick.
And Ryan
Who
Leonard,
lost to
Ryan Leonard
Jibs?
looks good.
Yeah, he played solid. G texted in game 2, but like you said though, for these guys coming in without a lot of NHL experience, like it feels like there's 15, 20 guys on the ice. It's a different level. It's a different speed. The way I described it on the broadcast is, when you used to go to the baseball games and they do the game in between the innings, the 7th inning stretch, where you'd put the baseball bat on your forehead and you'd spin around 10 times and then you'd get up and try to run in a straight line. That's how it felt when I played playoff hockey. Now, some guys can slow the game down and it's like Anthony Beauvillier, he seems to be fine adjusting to the pace of playoff hockey. Not the case for some guys. But anyway, I was going to ask you about who got their jibs knocked out. Was it Protas?
No, he's not even
Protas
in yet.
played. He's not even in. That's a big loss.
When they get him back, I didn't know the name, actually.
Oh, my God.
It was a big
While you're
Russian,
thinking of
right?
that, let me tell you how you really do dizzy bat, though, Biz, because you're a Canadian. You guys probably don't have this up there, but you got the yellow wiffle ball bats. Everybody knows those. What you do is you cut the top off of that, and you fill it up with the beer. So then you pound the beer, then you do the dizzy bat, and you try to run as far as you can against your other buddy. So
it was
why not just drink the beer out of the bottle?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah, it's
Syracuse
dizzy bat.
Stars legend, Matt Murley in the New York
I think it was
Hockey Hall of Fame.
Alexiev's teeth.
Hey, you know who I want to give a
found
shout
it.
out to or two guys on Montreal is Gallagher and Gooley. Gallagher is just a prototypical, let's say, rat, right, in the league. Like, he's always in the shit, but he's not really diving around. That guy plays so hard for how small he is. That game 1, he was getting cross-checked in the face, but not laying down on the ice, getting back up. It looked like he was really, he's been there a long time. He was really trying to show the young guys on that team what kind of playoff hockey is going to be like, and you're going to get abused, and you got to take it a little bit. And it looks like it's, kind of wearing off on the rest of that group. But that Cade Gooley, whatever the hell.
Yeah, G unit
is.
Gallagher and Gooley.
Like, what's his name? Prong said, like a number 2, a true number 2, a guy that's going to be really good on PK, do things. He's going to help out at number 1. That kid's going to be a stud for a long time. He looks like he's been in the league 5-6 years already, the way he's been playing.
Gallagher also has had about 75 injuries because of how he plays, and he just always comes back from them. Back to Washington quick, because you mentioned Protas, who hasn't been playing. When he comes back in, dude, they got some lineup decisions. Like, does he go up with Strome and Ovi and Beauvillier drops down? But then there's McMichael, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Tom Wilson. Does he take one of the spots on that line? He's going to be on one of the top 2 lines. So they're able to win 2 games without him, who was one of their best players all year. Washington is laughing, and that's another example, like Heiskanen. Hey, the more you win, we don't have to get him back yet. Let him rest. It's another 2 days rest. If we can go up 3-0, we might not even have to play him this series. So we'll see what happens tonight in Montreal. But that leaves us with 1 series left, boys. And I feel bad. I feel bad for Hurricanes fans, because don't worry. Next round, we're going to be chatting you up. We're going to be talking way more about your games. Right now, you're playing. What is this? The New Jersey Devils, yes, injuries. Since January, a bottom 5 team in the league. They limp into the playoffs, and you're now watching it. It's varsity JV. And I don't even know what to say besides Carolina's really good and Jersey stinks.
Calling in a secret weapon, though.
Who's that?
Secret weapons on his way there. Boots on the ground tonight.
Oh, my God. You're going to this?
Boots on the ground. I just landed in New York. I will be there at
Frank
the game.
picked him up at the airport.
There's no way you want to go even.
He walked him.
What do you mean?
Pasha,
Of course
quickly
I'll-
before you go, can I bring up your idea? Genius idea.
Sure. Okay.
Pasha mentioned to all of us, and I'm wondering what fans think. If you're a team like the Devils in a playoff series, first round only, and it's so obvious that you're completely outclassed, outmatched, everything you could say about domination.
I only said this after Luke got hurt, by the way.
I know. You should be allowed to then ask for certain deals from the Carolina Hurricanes or the team waxing you. Like, hey, we'll cancel the series now if you give us a first rounder. You get rest. You don't have to play any more games. We get a high draft pick. I like it, Pasha. I don't know what the fan base would think about their GM quitting in the middle of a series, but maybe they like getting a second
But
or first round pick.
You're also essentially paying for the first rounder as well because you're losing the gate.
Oh, it's the gate. I didn't think of the gate.
It's all money. It's all money.
But
I would
you
imagine
do it if
anyways,
you
by
hosted
taking
and
on
lost the
bad
first 2
contracts,
games.
right?
Yeah, what if you host and lose the first 2, and it's quite obvious you're done?
Then the other owner
then
will
you would
want
have
the
to
money.
compensate them for the money lost
But would
as well.
would the owner rather the money you'd get going longer in the
Deeper.
playoffs with more
Deeper.
rest
Yes.
than the gate
Chess,
from game
chess,
3
not
and 4?
checkers.
Guys, it's never going to happen.
At the end of the day, New Jersey and Pasha are pathetic, and I really don't think we need his services any longer.
Don't make me keep that clip for next year when they're healthy, Biz, and they're an absolute wagon, because you can't. They didn't have a fighting chance going in without Jack Hughes. Now Luke Hughes is out. Like Siegenthaler.
The craziest thing about all this is this actually makes me raise questions about their actual team in depth. The New Jersey
How about
Devils.
Timo Meyer though?
I
that's a long
honestly
contract.
don't. The fact that when Jack went down, it just felt like the team was like, oh well, not our year. Like, ugh, the lack of fight and emotion
that's not
and
at all what
gamers
happened.
in that locker room. Like, give me a fucking break. I wouldn't even let me play for my ball hockey team.
That's not
Get
at
the
all
fuck
what
off
happened.
the
We
screen.
talked about this. We talked about this on the last pod. Game
What?
2, the
They
Devils
finished the
competed.
season strong. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's even playing.
Game 2, the Devils competed hard. They outplayed the Hurricanes most of that game. They just have no offensive juice without the Hughes brothers. Like, what team can survive their best player and their best offensive D-man?
Congrats. You
not
got a
being
half
in the lineup?
boner and whacked for 5
I
minutes.
thought
Great
Dougie
job.
Hamilton was their best offensive
This guy's
defenseman.
fucking team gets a lead in a series for once,
The
and now he's
fact that
looking
we're
down on the
spending
Devils.
time talking about this and not Jordan Martinook and what he brings to the Carolina Hurricanes is flabbergasting to me. We're wasting oxygen on a bunch of deadbeat losers. Okay?
I will play this clip 1 year from today when the Devils are waxing teams, and they'll probably play the Leafs, and they're going to wax them April 25th,
You said the
2025.
same
I will
fucking
play the
last
clip.
year, Biz.
You
Said it
said
last
the
year.
same fucking thing about bending Whit's wallet over about Jack Hughes hitting 100 points for 3 fucking
I like
years.
my Anaheim Ducks bet now.
Yeah.
No. I was never like overly confident about that bet. We all agreed that was going to come down to the wire. Health was a factor. Like, that was never a bet where I was saying, "No, wait, fuck you, you're going to end up paying me." Correct, Whit?
I
That was
feel
always
like
going
I
to be a
need to
tight
step
bet.
in here because I've maybe been a little bit critical of the Carolina Hurricanes. We should waste no more oxygen on the New Jersey Devils.
Okay,
We should be
okay.
tire pumping what culture the Carolina Hurricanes have created, how they
Watch this,
outwork
Biz. Watch
teams.
this. Watch this. Get him off, G. See
There
ya.
you go. Nah.
We just got to bring him on and torture him. Like, him flying from Vancouver to Jersey for this game, he had to be like, oh,
You know why he
man.
does it? Because he
Why
needs
is he
his
doing it?
fix. He goes in the locker room and he sniffs Luke's jock, and then he goes over to, I know there's not a lot of sweat on it because he hasn't played recently, but can I still lick it? Can I get like a little tincture of his sweat so I can rub it on my body before I have sex with my gorgeous girlfriend?
Hurricanes
That's what
fans,
Pasha does.
I cannot
He's a sick
wait
fuck.
to see you guys play next round. You'll have some real competition, but right now what you're showing is that you're deep. People have always known that. Brindamore rolls 4 lines. He's not just playing forwards 25 minutes a game. No, he's rolling his lines. We're going to probably at one point see Nikishin, I think, unless Brindamore's like, I'm not ready, I'm seeing in practice, but giant Russian stud defenseman, maybe he gets in at one point. But Biz brought up Martinook. And the fact of the matter is, last year, this guy was on waivers. They put him on waivers at the end of camp, and it was all salary related. But this guy is a gamer. And what game was it he scored that post and in beautiful shot? Was that the first game or the second game?
Second game, gave the leg kick, dog piss. He gave her the dog piss. And even in game 1, man, the Stankoven goal, like on the forecheck, like when he's not getting the big hit, he's going stick on puck, pokes it away from the defender, right to Stankoven in the slot, boom, back of the net. So he does it all, man. He kills penalties. He's an emotional leader. Like you said last year, didn't get poopy pants after getting put on waivers because of the financial situation. All he does is he shows up every day, just like Rob Brindamore did, and he works his dick off. And he's part of that engine that moves that team. And he deserves all the praise that he can get. And right now he's got 3 points in playoffs so far. Remarkable effort, along with the rest of the group. I don't know
I
what
got
else.
a question for you.
Yes.
You had originally mentioned going back and forth between Anderson and Kochekov. And now that you're up 2-0 with a guy like Anderson, I think it was the first time this year or in a long time he'd played back-to-back games.
Right.
Do you, knowing you're going to move forward, you never admit it publicly, but knowing you're going to get by this series, do you not play him game 3 or maybe game 4 if they go up 3-0? You know what I'm saying? Or do you keep him in the rhythm?
Yeah, like I feel like when Anderson's when he gets the rest and he gets healthy, he can go on runs like this. Okay. So I think that you probably just stick with him. I just said that going in because I guess I wasn't necessarily overconfident in one of them. And I just think that they're like Peter Kochekov, he's pretty young, right? He's never really had the full starter role. I think he played like 57 games this year, which is what a starter would play in today's NHL. But if you went and told him, hey, we're going back and forth, it's not like he's going to look at you like he's Patrick Waugh being like, I'm going to fucking put my stick across your forehead if you've even mentioned that again. Like he would be okay doing it. So I think if you see any element of fatigue for Anderson where maybe he lets in a bat, then switch it up and tell him, hey, we just got to get you your rest. You're our main guy. Because last year, it wasn't the early rounds. It was when you got to the conference finals against the New York Rangers where it really ended up showing, right? Like in that series, like he allowed 3 back-breaking goals, like ones where you were like, oh, no, man. Like that's why you need a healthy, reliable starter. So as of right now, though, buddy, he's looking good. So are the Carolina Hurricanes, but they're also playing against the Albany River Rats. So yeah. That's what's going on.
I think you just got to focus on wrapping up this series and then getting him his rest that way. Because I think with goaltending, you don't want to get them, especially if they're playing well, get them out of their rhythm of what they're doing every game day. And maybe for him too, like he goes in and that, you know, the other goalie plays well. Like maybe in the back of his mind, he's like, oh shit, if I have a bad period, they're going to go to this guy. So I think you ride with him and then get your rest in between the next series.
Yeah, there's not much to be said. We'll see if Devils can squeak out one at home with Pasha in the building. Probably not. Guys, this episode of Spittin Chiclets is brought to you by Game Time. The NHL playoffs are here, and the only place to buy hard-to-get playoff tickets is Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NHL playoff tickets. For example, Mike Grinnell and Pasha, the Deranged Devils fans, will be in attendance this evening as New Jersey looks to get a win in their series against Carolina. $68 a ticket because of Game Time. Maybe because of the Devils looking a little bit dead, but Game Time still has the lowest prices, easy to get, the lowest price guarantee. $68 a ticket. That's because of Game Time. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to puck drop, so you might even be able to get in for $40 around 7 o'clock tonight. You can save up to 60% when buying last-minute tickets. I was looking at tickets for the Oilers, but I can't get out there even though they need me. I think they need me, but if I did go out there, it'd be Game Time the way I get into the building. So what are you waiting for? I'm going to go maybe continue to look for Oilers ticket prices along with flights and then talking to my wife right now because Game Time makes it so simple. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL playoff tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Chiclets for $20 off. Download the Game Time app now. What time is it? Game time. There is some news from around the league. First off, the Islanders, they make a big decision. They're not re-upping. They're not re-signing Lou Lamoriello. No contract extension for him. 7 years he was there as the president and the GM. I think that, yes, I think a lot of times we've kind of joked maybe Lou's time has passed, but looking back on where the Islanders were and where they got to with him at the helm, it was impressive. They were right there. Tampa broke their hearts in an incredible Game 7. They had another Eastern Conference Finals they were at. And that Tampa Game 7, they lost 1-0 in the Cup final, right? You go on to play Montreal. That was done. But I don't know if you'll see Lou Lamoriello again, right? He's older. He's been around forever. Does another team bring him in? I'm not sure. But I wasn't that surprised that they are moving on And it's just a time of kind of rebuilding and trying to get the Islanders out of the age of having all of these older guys signed to long-term deals.
I don't know, man. Some of these guys are
years old.
Some of these guys, boys, he's married to the game. Look at Bill Belichick. He's fucking coaching college football
Well,
with
his
20-year-old
girlfriend is.
girlfriends in the end zone calling offensive plays for the red zone, for fuck's sakes. Like, some people are just married to the game. Like, I'll be doing this podcast in TNT till I'm 90, till my fucking ball bag's hanging down past my knees. Like, come on here. But yeah, I think it was time. Would absolutely love if the Buffalo Sabres brought him in. I would love to see the Buffalo Sabres go get Lou Lamoriello.
Those
He would
guys
do
would
it
be
for
like,
$100 grand.
Shit.
He would do it for $100,000. He would turn that whole ship around, and I would love I would fucking shave I would shave my face every day if that was able to happen.
No mustache for you. You'll go full to the wood shaved like a razor like I do if Lou gets hired by Buffalo.
I'll fucking shave Lou Lamoriello's butt crack if he fucking ends up in Buffalo. That's how bad I want that to happen. I'll fucking nair his hoop. I'll shave it all, buddy.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
It
You think
doesn't matter.
even a guy like Lou, married to the game like he is, you think even him would want that gig?
He's like, no, thanks. They're like, well, Lou, what do you mean? We thought you'd never. I'm not going to Buffalo.
What if
even
you showed
I
up
can't
to
save there?
What if you showed up to the next Chiclets Cup and he was the GM of the Big Deal Selects? Or all
I know
clean.
that
He's got
even
Terry
Lou can't
Ryan
save it.
Hey, your
shades.
team
Terry
set
Ryan
up,
would
your
be on
team set up
waivers
like
and-
the Islanders, a bunch of
You
old
see him just
shit
grab
bags.
the pipe out of Terry Ryan's hand.
Senior.
Sit down, senior.
Oh yeah, I love that one-on-one meeting with Con Man.
Oh God.
Hey, definitely a time of change, though, for the Islanders. They traded Nelson to Colorado. Martin retirement ceremony basically on the last game. And now Cal Clutterbuck, he said he didn't know what to do. And he
Barzell
had
will
the
be
video
out
there.
next.
That was hilarious. Clutterbuck's not really sure how this works, but I'm done.
We're
And
gonna get
Biz,
him on.
You know him well. You know him well. What a career.
Yeah, he had the shackles on him, so he wasn't able to come on the podcast. But we will 1,000% be doing a sandbagger and interview with Cal Clutterbuck. And he's an opinionated guy. He's a funny motherfucker. He knows every single movie quote on the planet. So I would imagine he would be a reoccurring guest on Chiclets. And he's already gotten himself in the media side with the Islanders. I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps running with that as well. So congrats to all those guys. Even Lou on a great run. I know we joke around about how he's like over controlling and he's a hockey freak, and he used to have guys when they come back to the hotel sign sticks for the people at the desk so he know that they came in late for curfew. Like, this guy is a madman, but he provided a lot to the game, including some dynasties for that shitbag organization that Pasha likes. So maybe a little bright spot for you, Pasha. You can rekindle the flame on all the cups you guys won.
Army says often when coaching crews growing up and coaching the young kids, he'd say, "Who wants to be Connor McDavid?" And they'd all raise their hand, and then he'd say, "All right, well, who wants to be Cal Clutterbuck?" And none of them would raise their hand. And it's like, dude, you don't realize how hard it is to play like the way he did, how long he played. It's not glamorous, right? But he played forever, and he ran around killing people like a bowling ball, and he actually had an incredible shot, scored a bunch of big goals. But what he did was, it's talking about Brendan Gallagher, saying it's not easy, man, to play that way and to have every person on the other team hate you and constantly be in the middle of shit after the whistle. But Clutterbuck did it, and what a career he had. So congrats to him. Can't wait to interview that guy and hear all about it. Other news, Drury re-signed by the New York Rangers, a multi-year contract extension. I don't know how Rangers fans feel. I think the ones that are disgusted, it's like, you've had some pretty good teams. Like, this year was a disaster on so many different fronts. We've talked about it a million times. Probably messed up the way he went about the Barclay Goodrow situation, and then, putting out there that Kreider was available and Trouba was available, but he got Shesterkin signed, and he got Lafreniere signed, but then that looked like a shit deal at the end of the season or the second half of the year. So I obviously see why he's re-signed as GM, though. Like, to me, it's like after 1 year, you're like, oh no, you're done. I wasn't surprised at all to see this.
Yeah, I like him coming back. Obviously, Dolan has the trust, and I mean, you see the quotes from Dolan saying that he's a proud Ranger and he's going to turn the ship around. And I mean, realistically, they've had good years. This is the first year they didn't make the playoffs. They've, won the President's Trophy. They've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's just because of the pressure in New York. But I think Drew's up for the up for the challenge. He's won at every level his whole life, and he's made good trades, he's made bad trades there, but what GM hasn't, right? Like he's, shit's gonna happen. But I think this summer he's gonna go into the summer, and I think they know what they need to do this summer to get their team back, because it's a tough place to be a manager, a player, a coach, and I think that he's probably got that hunger inside him right now to get them to where he wants them to be, and I think hopefully they'll be okay next year.
Biz, if you were to guess, who do you think was shooting a puck at Stollart's in warm-up from Ottawa?
Ridley Gregg?
We're going to go with Nick Cousins.
Oh, fuck. How did I not think of that one? Jesus
The video
Christ.
just came up. Now, Stollart's is right inside the red line, like kind of like doing a warm-up in front of the glass. They played together in Florida. He didn't shoot it that hard. It might have been one of those, what's up, dude?
Stick.
Like, yeah, kind of fucking with you.
Or there might have been anthrax on it. Like,
Or it was Cousins, and he whiffed, and it was supposed to hit him in the neck.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Was it on the ice?
It I can't tell. The video's kind of
I'm gonna
grainy
watch
that BR Open Ice just tweeted, but he just snaps it and then peels to the middle, and now it's being investigated. Last thing before we wrap up, a little longer.
I just
episode.
watched it. I would say 3 years in prison would be a fair sentencing for this.
Rick Tocchet. The Canucks will not be exercising the team option on the final year of Rick Tocchet's deal. He is free to sign with whatever team he wants, including Vancouver. That is not going to be. That's not going to happen. But I think the number one guy on the market this summer, Quenneville's obviously available, but every single team who needs a head coach is like, we need Tocchet. We need Tocchet.
You think Chris Drury's calling him first call?
Oh yeah. I think that I would not be shocked if he could get like $5 to $5.5 million per year with New York. I think that Philly needs a coach, and he could probably go there. How about Anaheim?
Bruins
young
too.
Core group. Who'd you say there, Whit?
Boston.
Bruins. There's a lot. What about fucking Chicago?
Seattle. He filed Bilesma as well. That was news. He ain't going to Seattle.
So I think that having the world by the nuts would be an understatement.
Yes.
As far as a coach who won the Jack Adams a year ago, dealt with that horrible situation. And then also, I don't know if you guys saw. Hey, listen, this also doesn't mean that he doesn't re-sign in Vancouver.
No.
Right?
No.
This was him getting let out of a deal where he was set to make a certain amount, where maybe now he would be provided with more security and an offer that was matched. Like, who knows, right? Like, he's going to see everything that's coming at him. But did you guys watch, when he was interviewed after the season about the whole PD situation? Like, his rawness and openness and the way that he explained the situation, that's exactly why you need a guy like Rick Tocchet in charge of your team. That's it.
Not to mention, in that press conference, Rutherford,
I love Rutherford.
Jokingly or not, is like, maybe we'll bring the Hughes brothers over from New Jersey.
I loved it.
I was like, did he just say that? No, I don't know if you end up getting tampering call from the league or something, but pretty hilarious to say just openly well, we want Quinn. Well, he wants to play with his brothers. We bring him over.
I also thought it was funny. I think it was Elliot Friedman who was clearly the league knows that they have no interest in going to Vancouver, but talking about Luke and Jack. So I thought that was pretty funny. That pretty much, hey, bye Quinn. It's a matter of time. Yeah, it was just a wild press. Rutherford does not sugarcoat it. He'll tell you exactly how he's feeling. Same with the way that Alvin spoke when he was about the PD stuff. And even it was Rutherford when the JT Miller stuff and PD stuff, when they were still on the same team, started calming down. He threw more gas on the fire. He genuinely does not give a flying fuck. So guys like that are appreciated in our industry because they make for unreal quotes and podcast discussions. So shout out to the Vancouver Canucks on a hell of a year as far as the bulletin board.
And that about wraps it up. We're going into.
I got a couple of shout outs as you're talking about shout outs. This weekend in Albany's the Capital Cup for kids. My brother's team plays. I usually coach, but I've lost the last 4 championships coaching, so I am now retired, but I'll be over there watching the games. Second all, I just got this hat sent to me from you guys, Gargoyles Hot Hockey. So looking forward to checking you guys out. And then I said it on Game Notes. I'm putting it out there now, free ad. I need a speed builder. I need some guy from upstate New York that knows how to speed build a house for me. So get a hold of me. Come over to the Capital Cup game this weekend and come find me and build my house in record time, please.
And Mur, thinking of you down there, just building a foundation, slaving away. You're a Hall of Famer. You don't need to be doing that stuff now. So thank you so much to Chris Pronger. Thank you so much to the Mur. Congrats on that announcement, Mur. Good luck with the house. Reach out to him if you can build quick. And Biz has his Leafs hat. And my Oilers. Can the Oilers flip this thing around? Game 3. Remember, playoff schedule. Wednesday, noon. Game Notes, YouTube channel, 400,000 subscribers. Fridays, we're with you. Monday, we'll be back with you. Can't wait. Got another weekend of action coming up. And new summer hats are available. You see, Keith has the gray one on. Murls has the Toronto Maple Leafs blue one on. And keep an eye out for some Greensboro Gargoyles hats coming very soon. I love all of you guys. Love you listeners. Let's go Oilers.
Love you, boys.
Peace.